Rein it in, Ken.
And you know they aged the cheddar cheese for 6 months.
Ken, seriously, the second half has started.
And now back to the game.
The toasted cheddar chalupa is back, only at Taco Bell. At participating Taco Bell locations for a limited time only. Contact store for hours and participation is fair.
Hurry into Mattress Firm's best Memorial Day sale ever. Get a king bed for the price of a queen or a queen for a twin and save up to $500 on Sealy. Plus, get a free adjustable base with qualifying Sealy purchases up to a $499 value. Or shop Tempur-Pedic, the most highly recommended bed in America, and save up to $500 on adjustable mattress sets in stock for immediate delivery. And get a $300 instant gift. Talk to a sleep expert today. Only at Mattress Firm. Restrictions apply. See store or mattressfirm.com for details.
All right, happy Monday. Welcome in. It is the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Kev, happy Monday.
I got a new phone.
You got a new phone?
Got a new phone. Feel good, got a new phone. My phone charges now because I have a new phone.
An iPhone?
Yeah, I do.
Interesting. My phone I've had since 2016, and I will use this thing until it absolutely dies. I used to be all about the newest, fanciest phone and all that. Now I don't care. I don't care. I don't know why I don't care, but I'm sure. But like you said, if yours wasn't charging, mine,
yeah.
mine doesn't hold a charge worth a damn right now either. But nonetheless,
Talk to me off air. I know a guy.
When you start adulting,
Yeah, man, you're a married man now, man. You can't have your phone dying on you.
So there's that. But again, happy Monday. Welcome in. Hope everyone listening had a great weekend and has had a great start to the week. A little rainy and muggy out, but nonetheless excited to be hanging out with you all here this afternoon. We'll open up with NBA Finals. Game 2 last night, 107-88. The final, the Golden State Warriors even up the series at a game apiece. And, of course, now the series shifts over to Boston. 107-88 was the final last night. But, of course, just like any major just like any major championship game or finals or championship series, what's the number one thing we always talk about? Officiating. I've said before, there is no such thing as a good officiating, ever. We have never left an arena. We've never left a ballpark. We've never left any stadium or any place during a contest and went home and said, man, that was one hell of an officiated game. That number, whatever official, that official, he's my favorite ref in all of pro sport. We don't do that. We only talk about officiating when it's bad. And let's be clear, it's always bad. It's because it's an imperfect science, and there's no such thing as good officiating. You're damned if you do. You are damned if you don't. Last night during game 2, and this is what I love about Draymond Green. Draymond Green is an old school player. Draymond Green is all about the physicality. He likes to not just get into your head mentally, but physically. He is going to make you work. And Draymond Green, despite driving a lot of people crazy, he had a goal last night, and that goal was to kind of set the tone. Got to be as physical as possible, got to rattle the Boston Celtics, and got to, set the tone for my teammates and say, hey, this is how you do it. This is how you got to come out. You got to be not just physically tough, but mentally tough. And you can argue about whether he was mentally tough last night or not, because right now the only thing that determines whether he was mentally tough or not is based on whether the official kicked him out or not. So he was a bull in a china shop last night. Very sporadic, all over the floor. He's one of my favorite players for that very reason, but he's also a guy that has cost his team a championship in years past, and if he's not careful, could very well be on his way to costing his team a title again this season, even though his antics won his team a game last night by setting the tone and feeding off of the home crowd. Now, I bring this up because Draymond Green's one of those that is being labeled as a dirty player in today's NBA, but yet all I hear from old school fans is how today's players wouldn't make it back in the day because we had tough players like Bill Laimbeer and Dennis Rodman, and we just had these trucks of dudes, Oakley and guys like that would knock you on your ass and make you work for everything. We loved those guys back then, right? We loved the guys in the 80s and 90s. But then when players play like that today, those same fans, that Draymond Green, he's just a punk. He plays dirty. He's a dirty player. He's not a dirty player. He's an old school player. Vontez Burfict, I never want, I think that he's his own worst enemy, but keep in mind, if Vontez Burfict played back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, Kev, Vontez Burfict he'd be one of those legendary mean hitters in the NFL that we would talk about to this day. Those guys that are that give your team an identity of toughness, right? Like we still, Bengals fans still have to defend their team's honor of Vontez Burfict to this day. And I'm like, you shouldn't. Yes, he was a dirty player, but he didn't do anything different than what players in the 80s and 90s did, except now it was vilified during our era of football. But you put Vontaze Burfict in any other previous decade of football, and Bengals fans are putting him up there with one of the best of all time because he just set the tone. He was physical. And if you weren't wearing the stripes, he's going to lay you out. And that's exactly what he did, right? But now he's a villain in the way we view football today because of playing it safer and not headhunting and those types of things. Right or wrong, that's just the reality of it. Draymond's the same way. Draymond has a reputation. We talk about all this time. I always say when I watch Warriors games, I'm like, oh, that was a reputation call. That wasn't a foul, but that's a foul because the officials are anticipating it based on Draymond's history. That's across the board because just like players do film and they scout games, officials do too. Officials know the players very well and they know some of the antics or they know some of the characteristics of these guys when they're on the floor. That kind of dictates what kind of game they're going to call. Sometimes officials like to set the tone with maybe calling some cheap fouls early on in the game to get the players' attentions of, hey, we're not doing this today. We're not going to let a game get out of hand. We're not going to let this game get chippy. We're not going to allow you guys to let your physicality dictate the tempo of this game. We're going to dictate it. That's what happens. And then sometimes the opposite happens. That star treatment. Now, you can argue how big of a star Draymond Green is, but sometimes some players get that star treatment. Oh, man, LeBron would never be called for that foul, but the no-name player over here gets a foul called on him. That happens all the time. That's sports. For the time you're in high school. For those of you out there who are big high school basketball fans in the area, you know dang well that the stars on the teams get sometimes preferential calls or sometimes are attacked with calls depending on where the game is being played, right? Like stars dictate they dictate the game's officiating tempo depending on who the officials are. But that's always happened. Now that drives me nuts. I hate that. A foul is a foul. Pass interference is pass interference. Targeting is targeting. It doesn't matter who is making the play or not making the play. It doesn't matter stars or not. I hate when people try to say, oh, well, a freshman's not going to get that call. A foul is a foul, whether you are a freshman or a senior, whether you're a bench player or the star player, whether you're a role player or a walk-on that's getting scrub minutes at the end of a ball game. The bottom line is a foul is a foul. That's not the reality of it. So last night there was, Draymond Green, he picks up a technical early on in the ball game. And once you get your second technical, you are now ejected. So Steve Lavey, who is the officiating correspondent, if you will, for ESPN, he chimed in after what appeared to be Draymond Green about to get his second technical foul, which would have ejected him from the ball game, which would have really deflated the Warriors' run at that point. They didn't call the technical. In fact, they let it go. When Steve Javie was asked about it, he said that, basically he would not have called the technical either. Listen to his explanation.
The two guys were going after each other. Jeff, I think you hit the nail on the head. And Mark Jackson, you hit the nail on the head where you have to consider one player has definitely a technical foul. Is this enough to call a double T and eject the one player? Personally, I would say nothing, and I would just let it diffuse as that. That's just my opinion.
Well, Steve, my question to you is, as a referee over there in the huddle, are you thinking about the fact that Draymond has one technical already?
Absolutely. I think that's part of good officiating is the fact that you have to know who has the technical fouls. And in this situation, one of the players does. Is this enough to warrant an ejection is what you have to think about.
So I found that analysis. By the way, I always think that the officiating correspondent is always a waste of time because it's always defending the referee, whether it's a good or a bad call. But I thought that one was interesting, and it could play a role in all NBA games moving forward because if you're Draymond Green and you hear that and you know that's how officials think, and it was proven last night. So if I get a technical foul called on me early, these dudes ain't going to call another one on me. They're not going to eject me. They already said that. So last point before I hand it off to you, Kev. Those who are angry about this, you crack me up because you were angry about the opposite approach from officials back in 2016. Maybe not so much around here because a lot of us were Cavs fans, and I say we're Cavs fans back in the day. I think some of us are coming back around to being Cavs fans. I know how this works. Yeah, you've always been a Cavs fan, so I'll give you that. But, back in 2016, Draymond Green was racking up technicals like he was collecting Pokemon cards, right? And he got ejected. And with that last ejection, he knew that he would be suspended for all of the next game. And that's what happened. And then what happened? The Warriors, who were in control of that series, go on to lose that series, and Cleveland wins their first ever championship. LeBron wins his first championship in Cleveland, and that was his fourth NBA title, or his third NBA title at that time. And right away, everyone, the officials dictated that championship. They handed that championship to LeBron. You got to let the players play. You can't call it technical on Draymond there. He's one of the star players. You can't just be tossing star. So people are angry. And NBA analysts, sports analysts are angry because the officials tossed a player knowing he'd be suspended for all of the next game. And everyone was angry because that basically kind of decided an NBA finals, right? You guys were angry then. So then fast forward, what is this? 6 years later, 6 finals later, the Warriors still a major player in the final scene, by the way. How about that? Draymond Green, not much has changed. The more things change, the more they stay the same. The league looks drastically different now than it did 6 years ago, but here's Draymond Green, same antics, same Warriors team, same core at least. But the more things change, the more they stay the same. Draymond, again, back in the spotlight for officiating and how they handle him. And now they've decided, well, we're not going to toss him and then have him be out for the rest of game 2, because now Steve Javie is saying, we know the circumstance. We know the situation. This is a big game. You can't toss Draymond Green. You can't have it both ways. You can't tell officials they can't make big calls in big moments of a series that will dictate the outcome of a series. And then when they don't toss somebody, then say, well, you're just going to let him do whatever the heck he wants and not have any integrity within the officiating of a ball game. You can't have it both ways. And I say that, I don't know what the answer is. I don't like stars being tossed out of games, but I also don't like the mindset of, well, now you could just do whatever the hell you want the rest of the game because you're a star and we can't toss you because the league needs you, the series needs you, your team needs you, the fans need you. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. To sum up everything I've said, what's right, what's wrong, your thoughts on how it was officiated last night, and how would you have handled that situation, Kev?
That's Draymond Green's game. That's part of his game. His, what do they call that in baseball? Gamesmanship. Like that's part of his game, to not only roughhouse, bull in the Turner shop, be a pest. Like that is part of his game, because Lord knows he's not going to hit a shot. He's going to play great defense. He's going to rebound. He's going to set picks. He's going to throw some dimes out there, but he's not going to score. So another facet of his game is to roughhouse. And I have no problem with that, because I think sports needs those type of guys. You need guys that aren't necessarily going to be out there to score. Everybody out there isn't going to be Steph Curry. Everybody's not going to be Dame Lillard. Everybody's not going to be LeBron James putting the ball in the hole. You need guys to play a certain role, and he plays that role on that team. And that is part of his role, is to roughhouse and to bring that type of energy to the game. As far as a technical in that spot, I don't think that deserved a technical. I don't think it deserved a double technical. But what people fail to realize about refereeing is it's not the same referees at every single game. There's ref at this game. There's a different ref at the next game. There's a different ref at the next game. Like, it's not Nintendo. It's not the Xbox where it's just a computer calling the fouls or calling whatever penalties are out there on the field of play. It's different refs. So different refs have different thresholds and everything like that. Granted, they are playing by the same rules and they kind of got the same mentality and everything like that. I think it does do the league a disservice by having a decorated official like Steve Lavey basically telling you.
Javi, I apologize, Lavey. You're right.
Well, whatever his name is.
Javi, Lavey, either way. If that was a subtle correction, very smooth. Yeah, that's a pro right there.
But him basically telling us, yeah, he's not getting kicked out because of X, Y, and Z. I'm not a fan of that. If the referee thinks that Draymond deserved a technical foul for that incident right there with the laying his legs on Brown, then give him a technical foul. Don't say like, well, he already has one and we can't give him another one. No. If it's a technical foul, it's a technical foul, period. No matter if he got one earlier or later. Like, that's on him. Like, just same way it was on him when he got the other technical foul back versus the Cavaliers. That's not the referee's fault. That's Draymond Green's fault.
When it comes to
that's his fault. He instigated that. He instigated that situation. He got a technical. He caused himself to be suspended for a game. Just like if the referees would have determined, like, all right, he crossed the line here by laying his legs on him and trying to pull Brown's shorts down. That's a technical foul for that incident. Oh, guess what? You had one earlier. That's 2. You're out for the game. I don't think they should come with a situation, well, he's already got one, so we can't give him another one. Nah. Those are incidents on him. And us as a fan base, people that are complaining about, oh, man, the referees are deciding the thing. No, they're not deciding the series, because he decided the series by being a goofball, by taking it the extra step. If you want to play like that, then the referee is still going to have to referee the game a certain way. And you out here pushing the limits, there going to be a limit with certain referees where you push the limit and you get 2 techs and you're going to be heave-hold. So obviously on the first technical foul, it was something that was said. some type of verbal situation. So that he got that one early, and then the laying on the legs, he got away with one in some people's eyes and everything like that. I don't think that deserved a double technical foul. So I was cool with it. But like, if the referee would have been like, yeah, that's another one, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. So that's where I'm at with it.
518-1410, 518-1410. Do you have a problem with the way that the game was officiated? And even if you didn't watch the NBA Finals game last night, based on what you know now, based on our conversation, which side of the fence do you sit on? Because I'm kind of torn. I understand both. And by the way, as we get further into the summer and we run out of topics, you'll get those sports radio generic topics of what would you do to change basketball? What would you do to change football? We rip baseball all the time because they make it easy. But here's something that has always been a part of basketball that has driven me nuts. I think that anytime, unless it's something egregious, having rules in place that takes your product off the floor is a bad thing. Fouling players out, I think, is ridiculous. I think it's a practice. It's just always been a staple of basketball, so we just accept it. But honestly, like imagine in baseball, actually, I wish they would do this. If you strike out 3 times in a game, you're kicked out of the game for the rest of the way. I kind of wish that would be the case. But I don't like the concept of fouling out. I don't. I know that adds a strategy involved, but I think anytime that, you have these big series, or like it puts the officials in a position where they have to decide whether they want to do their job or not. And last night's a prime example. And that's a good point we could argue about whether we thought that he should have had a technical or not. I kind of agree with you. When I rewatched it, I'm like, I don't know why everyone's so fired up. I think it's because it's Draymond. If it's anyone else, I don't think we talk about it. But it's just one of those things where when you put it in the officials' hands of, oh man, if that player picked up 4 fouls early or 5 fouls early and the next one fouls him out, but we're heading into the final 4 minutes of a game and it's crunch time and it's the finals, and I don't want to take a star player off the floor. That's a problem. I've always been against the idea, and even in high school, high school, college, or whatever, fouling players out, I would make that change in a heartbeat. There still has to be a thing to incentivize or de-incentivize a team for racking up fouls, of course, and whether that be additional free throws, but then that slows the game down. But I just think that anytime you have a result that leads to taking your product off the floor, that's a problem. And now I don't mean if a player punches somebody that they shouldn't be taken out. I'm just talking about in general, because a player's playing aggressive and the officials calling every little, like being very nitpicky with how he calls those. I just hate the concept of taking players off the floor, but that's a conversation for later. But when it comes to this, 518-1410, how do you view how the game was officiated last night and the explanation for why the official did or did not call that on Draymond Green? 518-1410, that's the number to call. Jumping on the conversation. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. Again, Golden State Warriors take game 2 last night. 107-88 the final. The series is now split as it heads back to Boston. But like I said, the talk of every major high leverage game or championship series or game, we're always talking officiating. Whether it's the targeting in the NFL, or the pass interference in the NFL, or ejections, flagrant fouls, whatever it is in basketball, it cracks me up. But we're going to talk about that. 518-1410 phone lines are open. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I'm asking about Prevnar 20 because there's a chance pneumococcal pneumonia could put me in the hospital.
Age 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just 1 dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I want to be able to keep my plans.
So I'm asking my doctor about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
At Napa, when it comes to serving you, their motor never quits. From next day delivery to getting involved with the local communities, that's Napa know-how.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
See Columbus Equipment Company, 7570 New Carlisle Pike in Dayton.
You don't get to be the league's all-time leading rusher without feeling some pain.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith knows joint pain, and he also knows the old treatments aren't the only treatments. Today, there's a natural alternative to drugs and surgery. It's biologic therapies from QC Kinetics.
I'm talking regenerative solutions that encourage your body to heal and repair itself.
Do you have pain in your hips, knees, shoulder, lower back? Want to get your life back? The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics can help.
Call to learn more about this exciting natural way to deal with chronic joint pain.
Don't put it off. Call QC Kinetics. Restorative regenerative solutions with no downtime and lasting results.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love. There's a new natural solution that patients are raving about.
QC Kinetics.
Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
Hi, this is Alpha Media's Senior VP and GM, Brett Bayshore. I'm sure you would agree blue diamonds and four-leaf clovers are hard to come by. Well, so is this rare opening for a digital sales specialist. We're expanding our digital team, and we're looking for a dynamic problem solver. If you have a passion for targeted display, SEO, SEM, social to mobile, or OTT, call me at 937-519-0111. That's 937-519-0111. Alpha Media is an equal opportunity employer.
At Boost Mobile, you get the power of the iPhone SE when you switch, which means the power to stream your favorite shows, download all the music, the power to FaceTime your ex.
It's over. Stop calling me.
On second thought, don't call your ex. Switch now and get an iPhone SE for $0, all on one of America's largest 5G networks. More power to save. Boost Mobile. Free phone limited to new customers and one per line, excluding tax. Additional restrictions apply. 5G not available everywhere. See boostmobile.com for details. And stop calling your ex. She doesn't want to hear from you anymore.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you have to drive 300 miles to your cousin's wedding. Okay, so it's his fourth. But you know what they say? Fourth time's the charm. Well, here's the problem. Your tires are as bald as I am. But lucky for you, eBay Motors has tires for just about every make and model. Plus wheels, lug nuts, jack stands, and more. 122 million parts. Do they have tissues? Oh, good, because I'm definitely a crier. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
At the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission, we help veterans and their dependents navigate the process of applying for benefits administered by the VA. We can assist with VA claims, pensions, and a variety of benefits, including emergency financial assistance, transportation, and legal services. If you are a veteran or a spouse of a veteran, a wide range of services may be available to you, always at no cost to the veteran. We are honored and proud to serve all Miami Valley veterans. Contact us today at 937-225-4801.
Expand your onto a living space with landscape blocks from Menards. Get a free estimate instantly with our Design and Buy landscaping program. From patios, retaining walls, fire pits, and more, you can create the landscape of your dreams. Visit a store or Menards.com to get started on your next outdoor project today. 16-inch brick face, cobblestone, and lakestone concrete patio blocks are $2.99 each after 11% rebate. Good through June 12th. Savings or mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Happy Monday. Again, open up the show today discussing kind of the fallout from Game 2 between the Warriors and the Boston Celtics NBA Finals. Again, the Warriors come away 107-88. The final, they now move the series back to Boston, tied up at a game apiece. But last night, outside of the blowout, again, there's been a lot of people complaining about the another blowout. A lot of these games have been blowouts, yes, but that's not really what people were talking about last night. It was the way that the Draymond Green situation was handled. And just to recap, Kev, quick, your thoughts again. The officiating, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you hold players accountable and foul players out quick and, you tee players and you toss them, One can look at it as, well, that's on them. They shouldn't act that way. And, but then on the other side, then you have those people that criticize officiating, saying you shouldn't dictate games by being so loose with the whistle. And again, that could be so, your idea of being loose with the whistle versus someone else's can always be subjective. But it just, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's another example. Me and you've been doing the show for a while. I always preach this. There's no such thing as good officiating. And this proves it. And it's the same player, the same team, similar situations, just different outcomes. That it shows the hypocrisy in people. In 16, fans and media, and not all, but it's a blanket statement from the sounds of it by me, but most fans and most media, they were angry at the officiating, that you can't toss Draymond Green there. You got to be a little loose with the whistle. You got to understand the moment. You got to be experienced. You don't throw stars out of the game. That can result to, impacting a series. And that's what happened. The Cavs won the championship back in 16 in the eyes of most, because if Draymond's there, the Cavs don't win and they don't come back from 3-1 and that type of ordeal. So then people are mad then. And then last night, so they are loose with the whistle or tight with the whistle. They're not going to toss him. And now people are mad, saying you can't just let a player act however he wants. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
For me, I just want consistency. And I think that's what everybody wants out there. Well, at least that's what I think people want, unless of course it's affecting their team. But you look at Draymond Green, that's part of his game, is to roughhouse and to do these antics and everything like that, and to push it to the edge. Because you look at their team, they don't have those rough and tough type of guys. They have shooters and things of that nature. You don't have like a lot of dudes out there that are drivers to the basket and attack the rim and everything like that. You look at Ja Morant, him and Steph Curry are the same size, but look how different they play the game of basketball. Ja Morant's a driver and a dunker and everything like that. Steph Curry plays on the perimeter and things of that nature. So you need that type of element to your team. Even their big man isn't a rough and tumble guy. Like, he switches out on the pick and roll because he can move his feet and everything like that. You need that physicality. But when you are that type of player, you're going to have to handle some of those consequences with being that type of player. Every generation has this type of guy that has that. I mean, Barkley was like the intimidator, but the difference between him and Charles Barkley wasn't only the intimidator on his team. He was the best player, not only the best offensive player, but he's the best defensive player on the team. He was there, everything. So most of the time back in the 90s and early 2000s, those guys had intimidators, weren't the best player. He's a big time call to that situation. You can look at the Charles Oakleys of the world, Bill Laimbeers of the world. They all suffered the consequences for their style of play. And Draymond Green has definitely suffered the consequences for his style of play. I just personally don't think last night was a situation where you give him the heave-ho for that. I don't think what he got involved with deserved a second technical.
So regardless of whether you thought that, I'm trying to rearrange this here, because your thoughts on it were, well, you didn't think it should have been a technical anyways. So
right.
That's a moot point to you as far as this goes. But let's take out your thought of whether it should have been a technical or not. Let's say he was, put him in the guillotine. He wrapped his legs around him and was trying to choke him out or whatever. Let's say that it was worthy of an ejection. If it was more worthy of an ejection in your eyes and they didn't eject him because of what you just heard Levy say, well, he already has a technical and they're very aware of him being a star. So I know what your take is as far as like, you didn't think it should have been a technical, but let's say it was more technical worthy and they let it go because he already has a technical. That's where people are upset at this. So
I would definitely have a problem with that. If Draymond would have pushed him, then obviously that's a double technical. Like, if they get into a pushing match, I mean, that's clear as day as a double technical. So if they would have swallowed the whistle on a situation where it's a double push situation, then that's flat out wrong. Like, you have to call it how it should be, because it's clear as day. Nobody in the NBA gets allowed with pushing people. Yeah. You can't push anybody, no matter how big of a star you are. Giannis can't do it. KD can't do it. LeBron can't do it. If they can't do it, then nobody can do it. Plain and simple. If he would have pushed them, and I heard that conversation today saying, I think it was Brian Windhorst saying like, well, Jason Tatum should have just kind of let Jaylen Brown keep going to see if Draymond would have pushed him
to draw him out.
At first I was like, come on, man. But then I think, Draymond is playing gamesmanship. So you up that gamesmanship by pushing him to the edge to make him go over the edge and get himself kicked out, because it's happened to better players than Draymond Green before. So yeah, if they were allowing him to push people and not giving him a technical, then yeah, I'd have had a big problem with that. I mean, he was already out there playing like he was Joe Thomas setting those screens last night.
And the other thing too, and seeing they were just letting egregious things like that go. It was bad. Like, I thought the officiating was poor. I had more of a problem with those. I mean, he was literally moving screen, like not just one moving screen. He was like, it was almost like he was blocking on an option play. I mean, he was going out, putting his hands out, and just just chucking them.
See, the thing is,
that's more egregious than
you're 100% correct. You're 100% correct. But in Draymond's case, and in his mindset, if they're not calling it, I'm gonna do it. They can get me to stop by calling it. And he does it so much, it kind of goes back to that theory, like they can't call everything. You know how they in the NFL, well, they can call holding on every play. In Draymond's situation, especially in the Cavaliers series and last night, where he's out here playing like he's a left tackle, you got to call some of that stuff. And you better believe Wednesday night he's going to get quick 2 fouls in the first quarter, because Oduka and the rest of the organization for the Celtics are sending that tape to the NBA office. Like, look what he's doing. You can't do that. And the refs are going to be looking for it. And if he does it, it's going to be a quick foul.
518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. We're also live on Facebook, getting a lot of opinions sent in through the Facebook chat section as well. We're going to pull those into the show and get your takes on this regarding what happened last night. Again, I technically don't have an issue with the officials kind of being more aware. The officials are very aware of the circumstance of the finals. And it's kind of like I'm very in the middle on this. I understand why an official would not want to toss someone knowing the impact it would have on a game, but I also agree with Kev. That's kind of on Draymond at that point. I mean, in the eyes of most, Draymond has technically already cost his team a championship back in 2016. I think there would be more of a magnifying glass on that had the Warriors not gone on to win a championship before that season. They would go on to win 2 more championships after that. They're back in the finals post Kevin Durant. If had the Warriors not already had multiple titles under their belt during this 6-year run, I think that 16 season would be highlighted more of, hey, Draymond, you cost your team a championship back in 16. And now you're last night, maybe it's not being viewed that way because he technically didn't get that second called on him. He didn't get tossed, and they obviously won the game last night. But if he does get tossed and then they go down 0-2 after opening the series at home with home court advantage and having to go back to Boston 0-2, now I think it becomes even more magnified. The bottom line is they think that there's not just one side that's responsible here. Yes, Draymond has to be careful, not let his emotions get the best of him to put his team behind in a series. But at the same time, officials can't go in there and be the stars of the game. We say it all the time. This is the one time that I'm noticing, based on reaction, y'all don't like Draymond Green. So now you're siding, now you're mad at the officials didn't toss him. But any other time a player gets tossed, man, there the officials go again, trying to be the face of the game, trying to be the stars of the game. Just swallow your whistle. We didn't pay to come watch the officials. So last night y'all paid to go watch the officials? Just say it like it is. You don't like Draymond Green, and that's fine, but stop being hypocrites. I don't like hypocrites, and that's why I'm just calling it out. That's how I'm calling it right here. But I do agree they got to call the fouls. I was more outraged at the fouls they didn't call than that particular play, but it is what it is. Now, some say as we enter the sports betting era,
woohoo!
Sports betting's been around for a while, but you see my point.
It's legal.
Legal sports betting around the globe now. It is interesting because you hear comments like that from the officials. I think officiating is about to be scrutinized even more. More. If that explanation last night, and I'm sure it's being scrutinized even more heavily in some of those states that have legalized sports betting.
Right.
I bet you it's an even more of a hot button issue in those states. In a year from now, it'll be a hot button issue even more in this state when we are placing legal sports bets at that point, especially in a series that, hey, if they get rid of Draymond and don't let him, do what he does, Boston's out 0-2. Now you cost me money. Now officiating, that take last night from Levy, that's going to be even more scrutinized, I think, especially as sports betting becomes more the norm across all states moving forward.
Absolutely. And like I said before, I'm just not a fan of that, man. I'm just not a fan of, you know what? I am a fan of it because now we're seeing their perspective as referees. And we talked about this man, I can't believe how long we've been doing this show together. But when we talk about referees, we don't get to hear from the referees after the game. We hear from the coaches, we hear from the players, and everything like that. And then we get the league report, like the next day and everything like that about blown calls or things that they should have did or could have did better. When you have cases like this, we need to hear from the referee. Why aren't you calling this foul? Why isn't that a technical foul? Why'd you call it this way or that way? I'm not saying we need to have a grand inquisition about it, but I mean, there needs to be something because, everybody else has to answer for stuff. Players have to answer for missed shots. Coaches have to answer for bad rotations and pulling pitchers and everything like that. Referees don't answer for anything. They don't answer to anything out there. So I think some of that stuff needs to be ironed out for sure. And I mean, I can't knock, a former referee for getting a job with, Fox Sports or ESPN and catching a nice little check by saying what he would have did when he was a referee. It's a nice check. He's not doing anything wrong. So it's just alarming to say, man, when people talk about how much the referees really can control a game by the calls and the non-calls, it is quite alarming. And then when you start talking about sports betting, that's where things get real sticky.
It does. So Dennis Bellahars, if I said your name incorrectly, Dennis, my apologies. He said that the excuse, and this is coming at us live on Facebook. If you're watching the show live on Facebook, leave your comments in the chat section. We'll pull it into the show and interact with you that way. He says that the excuse that Mark Jackson and Van Gundy made for not giving him another technical was terrible, just like Kev said, in reference to, well, he already had a technical. You don't toss a star from the game for that. I see both sides to that. Keep in mind, as fans, you want to watch. So you mean to tell me you want to watch Warriors without Draymond Green out there? That's what you guys want. I don't get it. So Dennis goes on to say, Draymond gets the benefit of the doubt because people go, well, that's just Draymond. First of all, I don't think anyone has ever given Draymond the benefit of the doubt. In fact, the narrative usually is he gets called for ticky-tack stuff because he's Draymond. This is the first time I've ever heard the narrative be flipped of he's given the benefit of the doubt because he's Draymond Green. He's rarely given the benefit of the doubt, Kev. That's the thing. So he goes on to say the way he talks to officials is terrible and looks like the refs don't have control of the game. That's always been the case. They didn't have control of the game back with the Pistons with the Jordan rules. All right. They didn't have control of Dennis Rodman when he was with the Bulls. The officials rarely have control of these hotheads, if you will, but that's just the way that they approach the game. So we used to love the 80s and 90s because of the toughness of the league, and then we get mad because a player talks to an official in a way we don't like. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways, Kev.
My thing is the game has changed. The game, how it's been officiated, the game, how they have opened it up for player movement and everything like that. You can't grab guys on screens. You can't hand check and everything like that. So the reason I think some people get irritated with it is because if they're saying this isn't a basketball play and that's no longer part of basketball, then let's keep it out of basketball. You can't, what people are trying to say is all right, we have maybe 3 or 4 individuals in the league who still play like it's the 90s and early 2000s, then everybody should play that data, right? No, if that's not how his game's supposed to be played anymore, let's not play it like that. Because best believe when, dudes like Chris Paul and Draymond Green are kicking dudes in the crotch, nobody likes that. Nobody likes that. And guess what? Nobody liked it in the 80s or 90s either.
So Dennis goes, so why have the rules then, Kinner? Listen.
Rules are the rules.
Listen, I didn't say that they shouldn't follow the rules, but sports, since the existence of sports, there have always been separate rules for the different star players. That's just the reality of it. And Kev, whether you agree with it or not, that that's the case. That's never not been the case. I mean, I'm not putting Draymond up there with the elite stars in the game, but he is one of the biggest names in the game right now as far as just the resume that speaks for itself. I mean, he is this era's version of Dennis Rodman and some of those tough defensive enforcers, if you will. When you think of the Warriors, you think of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, of course, but Klay Thompson, Steph Curry don't exist without Draymond Green. Just like the Bulls don't exist without those enforcers down low for Michael Jordan, right? That every team needs those tough enforcers, if you will. That's who Draymond Green is, but I know that's not technically the argument. But yes, there are rules, but players get called based on different rules all the time in the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA. I'm sure in the NHL, I'm not a big hockey follower, but I'm sure that's the case there. I'm not saying that, then why have the rules and ignore it? But we're not talking about some weird random role player that no one's ever heard of before. It's Draymond Green. And, it is what it is at this point. So
I think in basketball, like, especially now, it's such a, how can I say this? A pretty sport. It's an elegant sport. It's player movement, it's ball movement, everything like that. But in a sport like hockey, it's still the gladiator sport. They still have guys whose job is to go in there and start fights. Like, they still have what they used to call the hockey goon. Like, they still have that type of guy, and everything like that. And the only reason the NFL has not been promoting the biggest hit tapes is because of the concussion situation. Yep. So that's why they dialed it back. I think the hockey, even though I don't follow hockey like that, I think that's still one of those sports that's still rooted in physicality since the early days. I'm sure it's a lot different than it used to be, just based off of rules and everything like that. But you still see dudes losing teeth out there. I mean, they're playing hockey without a mask on their face, for goodness sakes.
518-1410. Kev, who we have?
We got Steve.
Steve, how are you, sir? Welcome.
I'm fine. On that call where he was laying on the ground and kicked him, he should have got a technical.
Was it
a kick, Steve? It looked just like he was using him as a stool, which I'd have been mad if I was Jaylen Brown as well. I'm just saying, as a referee, I'm like, all right, do you give somebody a technical for, being an agitator right there? Like a kick, obviously he's gone. But laying his leg on him, just, preventing him from getting up, roughhouse him a little bit on the way up. Right. I don't know.
The thing about Draymond Green, he gets away with a lot of things. You don't have to
but you don't think, I always feel like the narrative is the opposite, Steve. Like, I think he gets called for so much ticky-tack stuff as, we're almost expecting him to do something dumb, so the officials call something. Like, the narrative all season has been him being ejected for things he shouldn't have been ejected for. Then last night, he's not ejected for something that the popular vote would be, yes, he should have been ejected.
But I think he didn't get ejected because they was playing in their home court. Now, if I did in Boston, they're throwing him out.
Now we're talking, Steve.
That's fair.
Now we're talking.
And not only that, if they start doing home betting for professional sports, I'm going to bet on how many times Lebron Green gets a technical.
I think that's a valid prop bet right there, actually. And I would take
and then
the
I'm
over.
I'm going to bet on how many times the Bengals beat the Steelers this year.
Oh, Steve, you're on such a good ride.
We beat them 3 straight. Let's just make them 4 and 5.
All right, Steve, good stuff, man. Appreciate you.
Okay, thank you.
518-1410. So he says it's a kick, and that's fine. I mean, that could be a separate debate to my liking of that. They didn't bother me. I like the agitator. I mean, if you can't tell on the show, I'm the agitator. Kev's the cool, calm, and collected one, and I'm the one over here kicking and just being annoying and doing it. That's why I love Draymond Green. I love the Lance Stevensons of the world. Remember you
need those dudes.
You just sit there. Yeah, you have to have those enforcers,
different personalities. You want everybody out there playing the exact same way, then you end up with baseball.
And we all complain about baseball. We don't like it. Yeah. And so that's what, so Dennis says, different treatment is what drives us fans. Differential treatment is what drives us fans crazy. It's like the unwritten rules in baseball. He goes on to say, got to give the star player special treatment with calls. He said, that's lame. Where are you with that? Because keep in mind, the product matters. You can't be tossing LeBron James and
what did he do?
Players.
What did he do? That's all I'm about. If LeBron did something, if he swung on somebody, then he's out. Just like he did this past season. He elbowed somebody and he got kicked out the game. Those are clear and blatant rules that he, I think the first time I've ever seen LeBron really get that mad and throw an elbow or swing at somebody where he got kicked out. The biggest star in the league got kicked out for something that he shouldn't have did. No problem with it. But most of the time, especially in the NBA, we hear this talk about stars getting the calls. It's offensive players. Oh, Kobe's been to the line 15 times tonight. He's getting the calls tonight. You don't hear that about defensive guys. You don't hear the fact like, all right, man, they're just letting him do whatever he wants out there. I don't recall that. And I've been watching basketball a long time. I just remember the offensive guys getting all the calls. That's a call that a veteran gets. Those are Iverson called. Like, you can't grab Iverson like that. He's going to go to the line. You can't touch LeBron. He's going to the line if he's coming to the lane. I never heard, oh, man, defensive player, he can knock you to the ground, knock your teeth out, and they're not calling everything. Like, I just never heard that before.
So David Shaw says, what up, Shaw, by the way?
What up, Shaw?
He says, so you're okay with guys beating the hell out of other guys over and over again with no repercussions? That one I don't agree with. I don't think there are no repercussions. In fact, all we do is complain about how soft today's NBA game is, and now all of a sudden we're talking about the league that's just letting guys beat the hell out of each other with no repercussions. I've said this a lot today. You can't have it both ways. You can't have this tough man league. I'm not going to give up anything easy and then say, well, you can't just beat the hell out of everybody. You can't have it both ways. I don't know what you people want out of the NBA and its officiating, because we hate today's product because they're soft and they call every little foul. And then when they don't call the fouls, my God, we can't watch this product. They just let the players do whatever they want. It doesn't make any sense.
I just say, call what you see. Call what you see. You referee before, right?
No, not.
I thought you refereed before.
No, it was one time I had to fill in to do like a flag football game, and I accidentally blew the whistle because I thought they pulled the flag, and it was a championship game. And a parent like ran out onto the field. I'm like, dude, like, what are we doing here? Like, you're about to hit me because I thought I saw your kid's flag pulled, and like, so I couldn't take it serious after that. I'm like, you parents are idiots. Maybe one day when I'm a parent, I'll understand. But like, I think being a parent of a kid in sports at that age, to bring that out in you, you're a moron. I can't get down with it. But no, that's the only officiating experience I have. So no, I'm not an official.
Really?
I do know everything though. I'm smarter than everybody, but no, I've never officiated.
You know, we need to have a podcast about the times that you almost got beat up, because I think that would do some crazy numbers.
No, I don't need to. I don't need to get people riled up. Give people ideas. People want to be the first, you know. All right, 518-1410. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers with a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights, new equipment. Call Cody. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Experience the region's largest hobby shop, The Hobby Shop. Locally owned, low prices, and no bow ties this Father's Day. Get Dad what he really wants, a fun gift from The Hobby Shop. The Hobby Shop has the fastest radio control cars, the biggest monster trucks, the coolest planes, trains, and slot cars, Warhammer 40K, boats, and plastic models too. Support a local small business by going to The Hobby Shop. We're across from Lowe's near the Dayton Mall. The Hobby Shop, ranked one of the 30 best hobby stores in the U.S.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Get ultimate protection with Owens Corning shingles and save 11% on everything. Now at Menards. Owens Corning architectural shingles add curb appeal and value to your home. They have a limited lifetime warranty and can withstand up to 130 mile-per-hour winds. Choose from over 60 styles. Available in-store or online at Menards.com. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through June 12th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Alex Scott was a 4-year-old cancer patient who wanted to help find a cure for kids' cancer with the Lemonade Stand. Join Firebirds Woodfire Grill for Lemonade Days, June 10th through 12th. Donate to Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation.
Are you ready to taste the chicken sandwich perfected? Then Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken has just what you're looking for with the chicken sandwich combo for only $6.99. Forget the rest and try the best. This is a premium all-white meat chicken breast that's honey dipped and hand breaded just right. Served with creamy chipotle ranch all on a brioche bun, no other chicken sandwich can compare. Taste perfection with the chicken sandwich combo for only $6.99. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
All right, back at it with you here on 1410 WING. I'm Justin Kittle. He's Kev Nash, hanging out with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Got Reds baseball coming up here later on tonight, 6:40 the first pitch. Reds Diamondbacks, that's coming up here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 Wing AM. How many times can I say 1410 Wing AM in 30 seconds? I think I just broke the record. So there you go. But we welcome you back. Of course, last night, the Warriors, we've talked a lot of NBA lately, more NBA than we usually talk. So,
the association.
Excited for Wednesdays moving forward. Freddie Coleman, ESPN Radio's Freddie Coleman. Every Wednesday we'll be hanging out with Kev and I here on the show. So his first visit on the show will be coming up this Wednesday, and he'll be hanging out with us every Wednesday throughout the summer. So that's pretty cool. And then we'll have Jason Fitz back on as a regular guest, of course, once we get closer to the NFL season. I just talked with him. It was his birthday the other day. I shot him a happy birthday note over the weekend. He's out and about, of course, enjoying a beverage or two like he likes to do. So there's that. I'm sure he appreciates me making him sound like an alcoholic. But there we go. So when, by the way, Kev, when is the people were complaining earlier today about the gaps between NBA finals. So we had the game on Thursday, didn't have a game till Sunday. Right. The next one will be Wednesday. Are these spaced out properly in your opinion?
Yes. You get the primetime game on Sunday, and it started at 8:00 for goodness sakes. That was awesome. Then we get another 9:00 on Wednesday and 9:00 on Friday. And then they're back on Sunday. I don't have a problem with it. I know a lot of people do. They're not, doing the whole commercial planes anymore. They're not flying coach and everything like that. They're private jets and everything like that. But when you have a big business like the NBA, you got to have the most viewers on there. You got to capitalize on as much money you can make. And it gives us something to talk about. Imagine if there was another game tonight. Like, it's just happening too fast, and they got to stretch this thing out too. Like, I don't have a problem with it at all.
That's true. And then you'd probably have the crybaby athletes saying, "Oh, I'm going to rest game 2 because they got to be fresh for game 3," which is a great segue into what we're going to open up the 4:00 hour with. Richard Jefferson, man, he was fired up. I love passionate, fiery people. All right, I like angry people. I mean, it matches my tone, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But Richard Jefferson was asked about comments made by NBA Commissioner Adam Silver regarding shortening the NBA season, and every word that dropped out of Richard Jefferson's mouth I could not have agreed with better, and the only way I could have said it better is to have actually played in the NBA and have a credible opinion on it. But he is a bajillion% correct. We'll get to some of that coming up here in just a moment. Dennis, one more time to close out this conversation. Kev on Facebook says, "I don't believe Green should have gotten another technical, but the idea that they can't give him one because he already has one is ridiculous," like Kev said. I agree to a certain extent. At the same time, it's just one of those things where I think that, yes, I agree with you 1,000,000%. That you can't just not give him a technical because he already has one. But I think what also you need to consider is you look at what that moment was. You look at what he did there. That didn't warrant being kicked out of a game. I think for him to be kicked out of a game, he literally had to have been stomping on somebody. He literally had to all out kick him in the groin. He all had to punch him in the face. I think that people are making it sound like he was just doing something extremely dirty, and he wasn't. I think that the officials have to give him a little bit of leeway here. In fact, I agree. You can't just not call the technical, but that play, it wasn't that egregious. If that play was that egregious that we're talking about here, I understand what people are saying. But for right now, no, I don't. Now, if he had absolutely punched someone in the face, kicked him, or done something more severe, then I would give more credence to people's takes on that. But that's not what happened. And until something like that happens, then we can't get outraged over something that hasn't happened. And I don't believe that last night's technical or not non-technical was worthy of having the discussion to that extent. So it is what it is. But 518-1410, 518-1410. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. Richard Jefferson on the other side when we come back. Richard Jefferson was asked about the idea of Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, shortening the NBA season due to the request of a lot of star players in the league. Here's just a little snippet of what Richard Jefferson had to say.
Shortening the season, you're going to mess with records, you're going to mess with numbers, you're going to mess with so much of our basketball because this group, or the way that's handled right now, can't handle it. I'm off that.
He's off that, and I'm off that, and for a lot more reasons. That's not all Richard Jefferson had to say. In fact, he was standing up, he was shouting, he was screaming. He was adamant, do not shorten the NBA season, mainly because of the reasons that the players want the season to be shortened for. This isn't just an NBA topic. This is a topic for pretty much all sports out there. Since when did professional athletes want to be big advocates to work less? How can you be a professional but yet be screaming from the mountaintops, I want to work less? Now, I know we all want to work less at our jobs, but we all aren't fortunate to make the money that these NBA players are making. I don't want to hear that you want to work less. I want you to be out there. I want to watch you play. I don't want to watch a game that you're not playing because, you stubbed your toe the night before. Stop being soft. Let's go. Richard Jefferson's take on this. I love it. Kevin and I will dive into it when we come back.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
It's time to celebrate. On Sunday, June 12th, don't miss the Jewish Cultural Festival, a joyous day of food, drinks, artisan vendors, and fun for all ages at Temple Israel on Riverside Drive. Enjoy traditional food and desserts, nonstop entertainment, kid-friendly activities, and lively all-faith interactive sessions celebrating Jewish culture and traditions. Join the celebration at the Jewish Cultural Festival on Sunday, June 12th. For more information, visit tidayton.org.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy inherited properties, vacant homes, rentals, commercial properties, and apartment buildings. Give us a call today and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Do breakfast better. Wake up to oven-baked bacon and savory sausage and a breakfast Baconator. Start looking forward to tomorrow morning at participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours only.
Weather brought to you by Call It Power Washing. Introducing Call It Power Washing. Old man winter tough on your home? Call It for all your spring cleanup needs.
Ready for renovations? Arts Rental Equipment has the tools you need to make your home, lawn, and garden stand out this year. From brush chippers to cutoff saws, no job is too small or too big. Visit your local Arts store today. Work smart. Rent from Arts.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers with a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights, new equipment. Call Cody. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
At Wendy's, we make breakfast better, like with our Breakfast Baconator. Better from top to bottom bun. Savory sausage patty? Better. Crispy oven-baked bacon? Better. Fresh cracked egg? Better. The Breakfast Baconator might just be the greatest breakfast sandwich of all time. So you can keep settling for not better, or you can get a better breakfast from Wendy's. Tough choice. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's better breakfast.
Participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
School's out for summer, but if your business is running QuickBooks, you'll never get a break. QuickBooks manual processes, integration difficulties, and glitchy delays will leave you scrambling for the numbers you need. Failing to graduate to NetSuite will leave you stuck in summer school while your friends party. NetSuite by Oracle is the #1 cloud financial system, no matter how big your business grows. With visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR, e-commerce, and more. NetSuite is everything you need to grow, all in one place. That's why NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system, used by over 29,000 growing businesses. Automate your process with NetSuite and close your books in no time. 93% of surveyed businesses increase their visibility and control since graduating from QuickBooks to NetSuite. Right now, NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind financing program, so graduating has never been easier. Head to netsuite.com/radar right now. netsuite.com/radar. netsuite.com/radar.
If you have a small business, Staples has your sign.
Banners for my bakery?
Staples has your sign.
Oh, posters for my new pet store.
Floor decals for a pharmacy. Every day, Staples associates help every kind of small business create bold signs to make big impressions. And now get $10 off custom signs, banners, and posters when you spend $50 or more. This is your sign, so print it big at Staples. N72. Visit staplesconnect.com/thisisyoursign for details.
Experience the region's largest hobby shop, The Hobby Shop. Locally owned, low prices, and no bow ties this Father's Day. Get Dad what he really wants, a fun gift from The Hobby Shop. The Hobby Shop has the fastest radio control cars, the biggest monster trucks, the coolest planes, trains, and slot cars, Warhammer 40K, boats, and plastic models too. Support a local small business by going to The Hobby Shop. We're across from Lowe's near the Dayton Mall. The Hobby Shop, ranked one of the 30 best hobby stores in the U.S.
Justin Kinner from the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here. I always love this time of the year when free agency is wrapped up, the NFL draft has come and gone, and the dust has settled following league-wide roster restructuring. So based on the current rosters and what we know now, here is one of my AFC North predictions. While Bengals fans and Browns fans all argue over who they think has the better team, the bottom line is that neither will be winning the AFC North this year. That title will belong to the Baltimore Ravens, who honestly, if healthy, would have won the North last year as well. Their entire running back room imploded before the season even began. Banged up defense all season long, and Lamar Jackson missed the last 5 weeks of the regular season. In fact, when Lamar went out, the Ravens were in first place ahead of the Cincinnati Bengals. They didn't win a game the rest of the way and finished in last once Lamar went out. When healthy, the Baltimore Ravens are the best team in the AFC North, and as of now, everyone's healthy.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
And we are back, hour 2. ESPN 1410 Wing AM. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash hanging out with you here on Monday. Hope everyone had a great weekend and has had a great start to the week. All right, so we've lightly touched on this in the past about the idea of NBA players resting throughout the season, and it's not so much an NBA topic. It starts in the NBA, but it's just the way we view sports today versus how sports used to be viewed. And I'm sure that even back in the day, there was always players who were looking for rest days, and maybe it just wasn't blown up as much as it is today. But Adam Silver, NBA commissioner, came out last week and had talked about the idea, or came out over the weekend, I should say, and announced that the league is potentially looking into the possibility of shortening the NBA season. Now, let me be clear. When you shorten the NBA season, an 82-game season, shortening it to 60, or shortening it, to 78 games, cutting 4 games, that's not shortening anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to shorten it. I hate when Major League Baseball does that. Oh, we might go from 162 to 152. That's not, in the big scheme of things, 10 less games, Ain't doing a whole hell of a lot. 4 less games in the NBA ain't doing a whole hell of a lot. But again, they have to do baby steps because every game has a million in the millions. It has dollars attached to it in the millions. So I understand it. But Adam Silver coming out saying they're exploring the possibility of shortening the season due to, of course, the high volume of players who are pushing for this, active players, and most notably the star players. Well, this has agitated a lot of what we view as the old school players. It's kind of funny, the players I grew up watching, who I've been told our generation of basketball has ruined basketball because of how soft they are, but yet they have very aggressive old school takes when it comes to this idea of shortening the NBA season because players need rest. Well, Richard Jefferson, Kev, was pretty fired up. He was not having any of it. And with a lot of passion, here is Richard Jefferson, a soundbite from ESPN in their NBA pregame coverage. Here's Richard Jefferson responding to the idea that Adam Silver and the NBA should shorten the NBA season.
Like, how much more do we have to make this coddling and all of this stuff go with the players? It makes absolutely no sense. Professional sports is not good on your body. It's supposed to separate the people that can do it from the people that can't do it. And while we do want our best product on the floor, part of greatness is longevity. That's what Michael Jordan, that's what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, that's what LeBron James, all of these guys, we talk about their greatness over a long period of time. And to keep eliminating this and dialing back to the point where it's like there's nothing else for the players to do. I think it is a joke. I think they should never do this. Now, if you were talking about the in-season tournament, I think that's 100% maybe if you wanted to just have a little bit more space. But this right here is the epitome of coddling players to make sure that everything is okay. On top of the fact that players are taking rest days. On top of the fact that they're taking rest days right now. So how are you going to give them rest days and then say, well, we're going to shorten it to 60 games. We're going to shorten it to 70 games. At the end of the day, they're still going to take time off.
They are going to continue to take time off. And I know there's going to be people with various views on this. And what's the big deal? If their body's banged up and need to take time off so they're here for the final home stretch of the season, then so be it. But before that clip that was cut, there was a little bit before that I couldn't include just because of time constraints on it. But he went on to talk about how, and I agree with Richard Jefferson a ton, there are more resources, more science, more money invested into making these athletes bigger, stronger, and faster today. These athletes are bigger, stronger, and faster than decades past. That's not an opinion. That is a fact. So with that in mind, how do you look at these athletes today who are bigger, stronger, and faster as a collective and say, oh, yeah, well, the toll's just too much on their bodies? How is it too much on their bodies? These are better athletes than in decades past. I'm not saying they're better players. I'm just saying they're better athletes. That's not even an opinion. That we just have more resources and more things at our disposal to be able to go out and better ourselves than athletes in the past. That's just the reality of it. So how, as athletes, with more science, with more money, with more resources being invested into this, how are you going to come out and still come out and say, I'm being worked too hard, when back in the day, there was nothing to prove that? Players did not fight for contracts that stipulated off days in their contract. And here's the one thing I've always been advocating. And by the way, bigger, faster, stronger, tougher, I'm having a hard time believing in that. I really do. I have a hard time believing that these athletes are tougher today than in decades past. I used to get annoyed when people would try to crap on my generation of athletes that I love, but they're not wrong. They're not wrong. When this is only being discussed because players are pushing in their contracts to take games off, which is weird to me. That is so strange to me that is even something that players are going for. But Richard Jefferson talked about that. Thought that was interesting. The other aspect that I've always been pushing for is why are games the aspects of what they're pushing to be off of? Why is it that the product that we consume as consumers, the product that we want to take in as fans, that we invest our time and our money into, why are those the days that you want to take off? They don't play every night. On average, it's about 3.5 nights off per week. Okay? This isn't baseball where you're playing every night. Basketball, you play once every 3 or 4 days. So with that in mind, why do you have to take off those nights? Why do you have to take off the nights that fans are paying money to go watch you? That their money is why you exist in the first place at this level. So I say that because what are you doing this other 3.5, 4 days between games? You can't take one of them days off. You can't take a practice or two off. You know, the stuff that we don't get to consume. We don't consume practices. We don't consume workouts. We don't consume team workouts. We don't take those days off. If you want to don't shortchange the fans. You can still get your off days. Why is it that games are, because games, that's where the grueling aspect of it. well, then maybe sound like you're getting beat up throughout the season because you're not working that hard during practice. Michael Jordan talked all the time that practices were 1,000,000 times harder. He worked 1,000,000 times harder in practice so that when he got to games, the games were the easy part. The games were the easy part for Michael Jordan because he practiced so damn hard that he made that the most grueling part of his week so that the games were easy. Well, it sounds like it's the opposite. If the games are the hardest thing you're doing throughout the week, then that really means you're not practicing as hard. That means you're not working out as hard, which means that's why your body's probably breaking down because you're not taking care of yourself in the days between games. So stop shortchanging the fans. I 1,000,000% agree with Richard Jefferson on this. Why is it you want off days? And why is it those off days have to be on the nights that we consume your product? Take off nights all you want during the week when you're not playing not on game nights. You practice, but during the week between games, take those practices off. That way you're not shortchanging anyone but yourself and your teammates. Last bit here from Richard Jefferson, which, again, I played for you before the break.
Shortening the season, you're going to mess with records. You're going to mess with numbers. You're going to mess with so much of our basketball because this group, or the way that's handled right now, can't handle it. I'm off that.
So another interesting point, too, is Richard Jefferson says, so this group of players is pushing for this. So you're going to offset all the history of basketball moving forward because not all players, but I thought it was key, Kev. The big thing that I took away in there, this group of star players, not all, but this group. So don't ruin it for the future stars of the league because this group can't handle it, because I think that's kind of his way of saying this isn't all the young players. This is a certain group of veteran players. And by the way, that is the problem too with the players committee. It is made up of a lot of older players. Mm-hmm. So that's their view of this game. So what they're pushing for, guess what? It's the Chris Pauls, it's the LeBrons, it's those guys who, guess what? They're a little beat up. And by the way, LeBron is not pushing for off days and games. I thought that, not the point. I'm just defending my dude. But anyway,
defend him against who? No one said anything.
The youth
about
and
it.
the haters of the world. I'm just saying. It's the argument that we always have that we're not having today. No, I'm just joking. But in all seriousness, when you have a players committee that's built up of older veteran players, they're going to push for policies that benefit them, not the sport as a whole. That's where it becomes a little bit of a problem. So I love what Richard Jefferson said there. This group of players, don't change the whole history of the game moving forward because this group of players is pushing for that, because I'm pretty sure John Morant doesn't need to rest. You know what I'm saying? You look at all the young talent. Luka, there's the last thing he needs is off days. That dude needs more days in the gym. So again, I'm done. Kev, your thoughts?
Can't do this. You can't do this for a billion reasons.
I did not think you were going to.
Cannot do this. Wow. You cannot do this. And the point is, and the point I've always said, you can't change it for, like he said, this group of players. The league is going to go on for decades and decades after this group of players are gone. And my whole point about James Harden and Kyrie Irvings of the world of the NBA is we talk about them nonstop as if they're the only people in the NBA. There's a ton of great talent in the NBA. So bear with me. Just get a little wordy and a little nerdy here, but Joker, 74 games. Tatum's 76 games. DeRozan, 76 games. Luka, 65 games. Embiid, 68 games. Giannis, 67 games. Trae Young, 66 games. Devin Booker, 68 games. Darius Garland, 68 games. LaMelo Ball, 65 games. Evan Mobley, 69 games. Nice. Russ, 78 games. Look at all these dudes that are all-stars and up-and-coming stars in this league that are playing most of their games. So then you look at some of the guys that aren't playing those games. Oh, look who's come straight to the top. 29 games, Kyrie Irving. So my point isn't to bash on Kyrie Irving and those guys, but guess what? This league is going to continue with or without them. So you don't change it right now. I think there's a lot of things that you can do, or at least bring to the table before this is even something that you bring to the table. Say, all right, well, you want to play this game, you want to play it like that, players. All right, we're going to collectively bargain a percentage. Like, okay, you sign a $100 million contract. In order to get your full $100 million, you're going to have to play a certain percentage of the game. So let's say between 85 and 100, you get all of your money. Then between 85 to 75, you get 90% of that money. Like, those type of conversations need to be brought to the table before you come with taking games off the schedule, because not only are you affecting the owners of the teams. You're affecting the people that work at these arenas. So that's affecting a ton of people, and you're affecting your league that is being broadcast with your media partners. And then the market in China, which is huge for the NBA as well. You have less games to show your product, so that means less revenue for you. The 82, shrinking that down, that should be a last ditch effort. And you bring that up way later, to a point where like, oh man, these dudes are retiring. These other dudes, they want to continue to play basketball. Fine. It's not a non-issue anymore. That should be the absolute last thing on the table. And like Richard Jefferson said, like, records are going to change. I mean, they've already changed up so much in the NBA, for better or for worse, however you want to view it, like with the assist. Like, you know, when I watch basketball, and I'm sure it was even like our older listeners can attest to this, an assist was, I set you up to score. You're not allowed to put the ball on the ground. Like Magic Johnson, bounce pass, James Worthy catch, 1-2, layup. That's an assist. I'm assisting you scoring the basketball. Now, I pass it to you on the wing. You hold it, you pump fake, you dribble, shoot it. Assist for me. That's not an assist. Player A did that all by himself. You didn't assist him, but you passed him. You're the last person to pass in the ball, and you get an assist for that. So these tweaks and changes that we do to the game are sometimes make it worse. So we talk about stats and everything like that. We're boosting up people's stats like that. You're going to decrease some guys that are able to hit some of these high level scoring marks. You decrease this thing down to 70 games. LeBron James is always going to be the number one scorer forever. Nobody's going to catch him ever, because they're not going to play enough games. Nobody's ever going to touch any of these records again. Mm-hmm. Steph Curry, he's always going to be the number one dude, because you're not going to play enough games to catch him hitting threes. Whoever's the number one rebounder of all time, you're never going to catch him, because you're not going to get enough. Big men don't even get the same amount of rebounds as they used to because of the three-point shot. That's why guards have so inflated rebounding stats, because long shots equal long rebounds. Come on, Kenner. Stick with me.
What you said, Kev?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's just for Kev.
But like when you do those type of things and decreasing the amount of games, I'm not sure what good it does. I think there needs to be a serious conversation with the players union and the players, and needs to be some young blood in there. I know that CJ McCollum is now the president of the association, but shoot, we look at CJ McCollum, we think he's young, but CJ McCollum is like 32 years old as well. So like, maybe it's on the younger players to get more heavily involved with the players union and things like that. But like stuff like this is only going to hurt the NBA. This isn't going to help the NBA by decreasing the amount of games that you have. When you decrease the amount of games, you have less revenue to bring in.
Yeah, and Richard Jefferson too. What I like about him, he's I think 2 years. He's been retired for 2 years. I mean, he's still relatively fresh out of the game of basketball. So he's played with enough of these current players that he knows the ins and outs. And I think that he's being more of I think he's speaking on behalf of the league and speaking up for the league. He's not bashing the league. I think he's defending the league. I think he's defending a lot of the young players.
I think he's talking to a certain group of players.
I think that was, and the reason is I didn't think of it. I did not view it that way until this part.
Shortening the season, you're going to mess with records. You're going to mess with numbers. You're going to mess with so much of our basketball, because this group, or the way that's handled right now, can't handle it. I'm off that.
Yeah. So this group, and it was a combination. He called out this group being a particular group of guys without naming names. So that was key. That's really what changed. That totally changed the context of what he was saying. That's why I viewed it much differently after that part. He said this group and the way it's being handled. So he's not just putting the blame on the players. He's putting the blame on the league, saying, hey, these players want it, but you don't have to let them have it. And you don't have to let him have it. So, but I thought that was key. It was interesting, but it sounds like he's being more of an asset to the game, because I think he's speaking on behalf of the majority of players don't want that. John Morant wants to play in a lot. He wants to be out there every night.
Right.
These young stars want to be out there every night. And by the way, we saw that some of the most fiery, passionate players throughout this NBA playoffs have been some of the new blood. They have that. That's the asset for the league, is that the league that was relatively young is now becoming a middle-aged league, to where you're getting guys who now have that experience who are taking it over now. Now we're not bidding farewell to LeBron and Kevin Durant and others, but now they're not as much as the focus anymore. And you're right. We talk a lot of Harden and Kyrie, but sometimes it's a bad look for the sport, because we talk about those two more than any other athlete, it seems, in the NBA, and it's all for the wrong reasons.
Right.
It's never for what they do on the floor. I want to get to the points where we're talking about Ja Morant every night. And by the way, Thank you for naming listing those amount of games. That changed my perception of the league too. I'm sitting here saying that everyone's doing it. It's not.
It's not. It is
So
about five dudes. It's about 5 dudes. And just because they play in New York, we're going to talk about them. Just like what? When, look, man, I'm a little bit younger than some of our listening audience, but outside of the Allen Iverson years, when have the Philadelphia 76ers been balling? Like, even when Charles Barkley was there in his early years, they weren't balling. They were like a 6 seed. He was balling, but Philly wasn't balling. Obviously, the Dr. J championship and everything like that, but wasn't alive then. So why are we talking so much Philadelphia 76ers? Like, they talk about Philadelphia 76ers when the Boston Celtics, a franchise that is going for their 17th or 18th championship, is in the NBA Finals.
Yep.
We don't need to talk about dudes that ain't playing. Quinn Snyder stepped down from the Utah Jazz. Obviously, you talk about the impact that could have on the Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, but we're talking about dudes that ain't playing, that got bounced from the playoffs. Stop talking about them. I don't care if they're in the big media market. I don't care. Because guess what? They're not playing, so they're not relevant. Talk about the dudes that are playing and are relevant.
To be fair, our listeners, not just our listeners, but we as consumers, we kind of dictate where these networks go.
Yeah.
If it bleeds, it leads. Coming up, top 5 reasons why the Celtics are in the finals. Well, Boston fans might care about that, but across the country may not. But top 5 reasons why the Celtics should not be in the finals. Oh my God, that's going to get clicked on a ton, right? Like, if it bleeds, it leads. Negativity. This is why I'm perfect for this line of work, because I'm not a cheerleader rah-rah guy. I'm going to be like, I love chaos, disaster, right? You all say that you don't like that. That's wrong. That's why people say, why is there so much negativity in the news? Because that's all y'all care about. If there's anything positive in the news, it doesn't push, it doesn't get the clicks, it doesn't get the views, it doesn't get the reaction, the reach, all that. It's not right, but it's just the reality of it. It's unfortunate, but that's the case. But a lot of good points right there. Again, I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Let's open up the phone lines, 518-1410. We'll also read some of your reaction on the Facebook page on the other side. NBA potentially shortening the NBA season. Richard Jefferson sounded off. We sounded off. Now it's your turn. 518-1410. Phone lines are open. We'll be back in just a moment.
Unbeatable prices and events are popping up everywhere at Rural King. Like an antique steel fire pit for just $49.98. Or your choice of 27-foot tie-down ratchet straps, just $7.99 a piece. And don't miss taking a spin on the baddest mowers at our Lawn Mower Rodeo. Saturday, June 18th from 10 till 2. Must be 16 or older to ride. Shop now at ruralking.com or your neighborhood Rural King, America's farm and home store.
Do you have a home improvement project? Use the right tool for the job and rent from Arts Rental Equipment. Arts has the best selection from power washers and ladders to loaders and dump trailers. Work smart. Rent from Arts.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, then get ready to pay up. The IRS has giant private collection agencies actively tracking down folks who owe the IRS. So if you think dodging them was stressful in the past, it's going to get a whole lot tougher. Optima Tax Relief has this advice. Don't wait. Solve your tax problems now before it's too late. Optima Tax Relief works to stop the demand letters, stop the aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS collectors from targeting you. Ask Optima about the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, and nobody knows this program better than they do. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they get results, having resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get a fresh start. Call today for your free consultation.
Call 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Alex Scott was a 4-year-old cancer patient who wanted to help find a cure for kids' cancer with a lemonade stand. Join Firebird's Woodfire Grill for Lemonade Days, June 10th through 12th. Donate to Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Body Shop Manager at Germain Honda of Beaver Creek. Our technicians have over 125 years of total experience. That means we can repair your vehicle correctly and efficiently. So when you need a dependable body shop, we're here. And we repair all makes and models with new state-of-the-art equipment to get you back on the road quickly. Plus, we offer loaner cars during service and free estimates. Stop by and see us. Germain Honda, Beaver Creek, State Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
At Boost Mobile, you get the power of the iPhone SE when you switch, which means the power to stream your favorite shows, download all the music, the power to FaceTime your ex.
It's over. Stop calling me.
On second thought, don't call your ex. Switch now and get an iPhone SE for $0, all on one of America's largest 5G networks. More power to save. Boost Mobile. Free phone limited to new customers and one per line, excluding tax. Additional restrictions apply. 5G not available everywhere. See boostmobile.com for details. And stop calling your ex. She doesn't want to hear from you anymore.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you have to drive 300 miles to your cousin's wedding. Okay, so it's his fourth. But you know what they say, fourth time's the charm. Well, here's the problem. Your tires are as bald as I am. But lucky for you, eBay Motors has tires for just about every make and model, plus wheels, lug nuts, jack stands, and more. 122 million parts. Do they have tissues? Oh, good, because I'm definitely a crier. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Are you ready to taste the chicken sandwich perfected? Then Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken has just what you're looking for with the chicken sandwich combo for only $6.99. Forget the rest and try the best. This is a premium all-white meat chicken breast that's honey dipped and hand breaded just right. Served with creamy chipotle ranch all on a brioche bun, no other chicken sandwich can compare. Taste perfection with the chicken sandwich combo for only $6.99. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Hey, hot dogs, sausages.
Maybe instead of using a stadium vendor to feed the office, we should have just ordered through Easy Cater.
I got nachos here. Nachos?
Yeah, right here. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it was fun at first, but it is kind of disruptive.
Cheesesteak here. Who wants a cheesesteak?
Over here.
Coming at you.
Oh, right in the face.
Some food just doesn't work at work, but Easy Cater just does. Food for work on time and has ordered from over 85,000 restaurants. Order 24/7 at easycater.com.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thanks, everyone, for baking your way here on this toasty morning. Are you all ready to jam? Excellent. Before we get rolling, let's start by hashing out everything bagel we'll be discussing. Profit margins are okay, but they could maybe be butter. Sorry, I don't mean to waffle. Next quarter, it's all or muffin. Did you have a question, Sausage Patty?
My name's Patricia.
When you can't take your mind off breakfast, it matters where you stay. Delicious breakfast available at our Hilton family of brands. Hilton, for the stay.
Hurry into Menards to save big money with the 11% off everything. Coordinate the look of your home with complementing finishes and styles from Schlage lock sets. Menards carries over 50 styles of interior and exterior lock sets. Right now, the accent entry lever in a matte black finish is $39.99 after 11% rebate. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through June 12th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
And we are back. I'm Justin Kinner alongside Kev Nash with you here on a Monday. 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. So thoughts again, Richard Jefferson sounds off on the idea of the NBA shortening its season. Kevin and I also against it. Different reasons why we're all against it, but point is we're against it. I will say, this is what makes Adam Silver the best commissioner in all of sports. I mean, whether we want to admit it or not, Roger Goodell is the most successful of them all. But player relations, I think he's been horrible at. And I think PR-wise, he hasn't been the best, but the popularity of the sport, like the NFL might be the only entity I know that even bad press can't kill that giant.
Right.
Like they've made some big time PR mistakes over the last 6-7 years. That hasn't slowed that train down at all. So to sit there and say that he's the best, when people say that Roger Goodell's the best GM, I'm like, he's kind of riding a bulletproof train right now. Like he can make a lot of, I mean, you can't turn left, you can't turn right. It's just, it's on its own. You just got to make sure it doesn't come off the tracks. And that's basically what he's done. He's avoided a lot of PR disaster. You know, when the train is parked, there's graffiti all over it, makes it look bad, but you know what? The train keeps moving. That graffiti doesn't slow it down. It just keeps moving. The other sports are a little bit more susceptible to that train falling off. They're not as intact as the NFL is. But I think that Adam Silver is the best of all the commissioners because I think he's done a good job of growing the sport, elevating the sport, as well as managing player relations better than any other sport out there. That's why I believe Adam Silver is the number one commissioner in all of pro sports. But I also think that he knows what he's doing here, coming out and making that public statement, knowing it's going to generate a reaction like this. Could be a feeling out too. Let's just see let's see what the reaction is.
Right.
Let's throw things out there and see how fans react. Let's see how the media reacts. Let's see how our current players react, former players react, and let's kind of get a base sample that way of how it's going to roll, how it's going to be accepted or not accepted. I don't think that, look, you can't play less games. We thought the NFL has been preaching the importance of player safety. The NFL was like, we got to do a better job of protecting our current players. We got to protect ourselves against lawsuits. And you know what that solution is? We're going to add another freaking game. Like, let's stop. At the end of the day, we're getting all fired up for no reason. I'm like 101% positive that this season will never be shortened. I think he's putting this out there because, again, he's all about the player relations. Let's let them feel like they're a part of it. Part of being a good manager is knowing that you get the final say and that you'll get to decide this, even though I know there's more moving parts. It's not all his. But let's let the players feel like they're a part of the process. But ultimately, team owners, they're not going to go for less games. Team owners aren't tired when they show up to games collecting checks. The only time you should be concerned about a season shortening in any sport, it's when team owners, they're a little tired of having to go to a game more than once a week, okay? As long as owners are showing up to games and collecting checks, they're not interested in less money. Less games means less money. Adam Silver knows this. He's out there to kind of make everyone feel good, make the owners feel like they have a say, the players have a say, the fans have a say. But at the end of the day, we know that money talks, and there's no solution, okay? There is no solution at all to the problem of losing money here. They're not going to do this. There's no way this happens. Kev, your thoughts on that?
No way this happens at all. 0%. I did have a question, though.
Yes.
So, one is there's 82 regular season games. What is a quote unquote good number for guys to play where you're not looking at them with the side eye?
I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for the Spurs,
exactly. I'm glad you brought that up.
Attention to it. Like, I don't even think we as fans noticed that these star players, the Spurs made it a thing.
Yes.
Because again, we have this mentality of we don't like to be told what to do. When Greg Popovich, I think, kind of dug his heels in the dirt a little bit and said, oh, you're going to tell me what lineup to put out there? I'm the head coach of a dynasty. You're not going to tell me which players to put in the lineup. And it was almost like it was a power play on his part that led to this. I don't think for instance, by the way, I was outraged by this epidemic in the NBA of pandemic. You hear, I almost said pandemic, of this epidemic in the NBA of players resting and sitting out. It's actually not as much of a problem as we think. Kev just went down all the All-Stars, and they've all at least played 68 games, 67. The least amount, I think, was 67 is what you said. And 90% of those are injuries.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at a player for being injured, but I have a hard time believing that, the 82-game season is why players get injured when these athletes are supposed to be bigger, faster, and stronger because they have more. If you're getting injured, that's on you. What are you doing between games? Because it sounds like you can't take days off between games because you're already taking days off between games. So anyways, without knowing all that, it's not fair for me to throw that out there. But at the same time, it's just one of those situations where the perception is that the players aren't playing, but they are. They are. I think anywhere around those numbers you were throwing out there, I mean, I think it's no player's going to play all 82 games over a long 10-plus year career.
Right.
That's not a fair assessment. But we also can't keep talking about how young the league is and then talking about how these players need rest at the same time. Those perceptions don't match up.
Right.
So to answer your question, 68, I mean, that a good 12 games 12 games, give or take, to deal with maybe a couple off days. I don't mind. Back-to-backs, I get it. Hey, I have this ankle. We're playing a bad team tonight. It sucks for the fans, but there are times where it is justified.
Yeah.
Then there's things that are abused. And I think that the league, some of these teams and players abuse the off-day situation where I'm actually not tired. My ankles feel fine. My knees feel fine. I just don't feel like playing tonight. There's too many of those things going on as opposed to teams being able to literally rest a team. Hey, we just played 5 first-place teams in the last week and a half. My guys played heavy minutes. There were no blowouts of us getting blown out or us blowing a team out to give my guys rest. I'm going to rest some of my starters tonight. I think that's okay. But when you're doing it in October and November, there's rest games in November. That's
ramping up, dog.
Yeah,
ramping up the season, man. I can't go out there full strength.
That was a long, rambling, stumbling, bumbling answer to your question. 68 thinks fair, 14 games, give or take, for some rest games off of certain stretches that we may not be privy to those circumstances at times. And then your injuries. I think 68 is a fair number of average games played for players.
Quick story before I get to my other question. My mom bought me and my brother floor seats in 1995 for the Orlando Magic and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Guess who didn't play that game?
Shaquille O'Neal.
Correct.
Yeah, Penny Hardaway, though, right?
Yes.
But Shaquille O'Neal.
Yes.
Floor seats.
Floor seats. Now, granted, it's 1995. It's not, 2022, and the Cavs were terrible at the time. But nonetheless, she bought us floor seats for Christmas, and I was so pumped up. I was so charged because I thought, I'm like, oh, man, we going to the game, da-da-da-da-da. And my brother had to explain to me, like, no, these ain't the bleeders we normally go to. These ain't the tickets grandma get us. We're on the floor, dude. I was like, what does that mean? We're going to be close to the action. Like, we're going to be able to see them. Like, if somebody might fall on us. I was like, what? Unable to play tonight due to injury, Shaquille O'Neal. He not playing? Nope.
Right.
Crushed. I got to watch Penny Hardaway go steal the ball from Terrell Brandon like 15 times. But my other question is, so I think this is basically an unanswerable question, but how can we get away from he's not playing because he's taking a rest day? How are we going to find out if dudes are really injured? Because we look at guys like a Embiid, who is injury prone, even though he did play 68 games this season. We look at an Anthony Davis, who is injury prone. How can we find out, or can we get away from this he's not playing because he's soft situation?
Well, I think the problem, too, is like Anthony Davis. Here's the difference between AD and Joel Embiid. All the criticisms that surround AD is that he comes into camp out of shape. He's not putting in the work in the offseason. It's hard to have sympathy for a guy who's beat up during the regular season when you're not doing your part to take care of your body in the offseason. Just because the season starts technically for us, like, you got to understand, when you're an NBA player, there's no such thing as seasons. 365 days a year, you got to take care of your body. 365 days a year. That's on you. For us, there's seasons. Regular season games, postseason, preseason, all that, but for players, it's year round. So to me, it's just one of those where AD, he doesn't take care of his body. He doesn't do any of that. But then you get Joel Embiid, who used to have those criticisms and then now's in the best shape of his career. And he comes in, and by the way, this is the longest season that he's had. This is the most games he's played in the season, and it's like, oh yeah, look, he put in the work. This is the best shape he's in. He put in the work, and now look, he's taking care of business and nearly won an MVP this year. And unfortunately, his season ended due to injury, of course. But nonetheless, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Kev popped out quick. He'll be back with us here in just a few moments. 518-1410. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy inherited properties, vacant homes, rentals, commercial properties, and apartment buildings. Give us a call today and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Justin Kinner here from the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Earlier, I predicted that the Ravens will win the AFC North, with the Browns finishing in second, possibly even winning the division outright. This is where it gets tricky. I have the Bengals finishing third. Yes, they were in the Super Bowl last year. Yes, they did improve this offseason, but are we sure they did enough to fix the offensive line? Lyle Collins missed all of 2020 with a hip injury, was suspended for the first 5 games of 21, and was very average in his return. Karras is a solid player, but he has profiled better as a utility lineman in Miami and New England than he has as a full-time starter. And Jackson Carman, he couldn't even win a starting job on last year's disaster of an offensive line. Plus, look at the last month of the season. If the Bengals are in an AFC North or wildcard race, do you like their chances closing out the season versus the Chiefs and Browns, at New England, at Tampa, and home against Buffalo and Baltimore? That's a brutal stretch.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Over the last year and a half, we all learned some hard lessons. One of the most important is that you can't put off the inevitable. Hi, this is Mark Davis at Dayton Memorial Park Cemetery and Mausoleums. No matter how hard it is to think about, we all need a final resting place. When pre-planning with your funeral home, please remember that cemetery arrangements must also be made. Call us today at 937-890-1831 or visit our website at DaytonMemorialPark.com. And remember, Dayton Memorial Park is a beautiful place to celebrate life.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Let's face it, you all have outdoor home projects to do. Mad River Mulch and Topsoil is here to help. As the area's leading provider of processed topsoil, garden mix, animal bedding, and mulch, we cater to the professional landscaper, contractor, and the DIY homeowner. That's you. Buy in bulk, mulch, rock, topsoil, and sand. No matter the size of the project, we can help, and we deliver, often the same day. We also carry firewood, bedding, and fuel pellets. Mad River Mulch and Topsoil, just off I-70 and Route 4 in Springfield. Order online at MadRiverMulch.com.
This isn't Madison Square Garden. These drills probably won't make anyone a #1 draft pick. But these players are practicing for something important. While they work on their jump shots, they're also learning teamwork, discipline, self-confidence, how to deal with wins and losses. Skills that will make them winners long after they leave the court. Support high school activities in your community, because when kids take part, they get set for life.
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes in Ohio are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Hey, it's Kirk Herbstreit from ESPN. Football has played a big part in my life, but football's also a lot more than just big plays, wins, losses, and championships. Football teaches young people about dedication, sacrifice, teamwork, and overcoming adversity. So let's respect the game and get out and support your local school. You'll be amazed of all the good things you see happening at Ohio schools.
This message brought to you by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the OHSAA Radio Network.
Justin Kidder, Kev Nash back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Sports betting going to be illegal here before you know it. January 1st. So
you got
close.
A little extra pep in your voice.
Yet so far away. Look, I mean, I lose my money a lot on fast food and stuff I shouldn't be. I mean, can't wait to become a professional sports gambler. Make a lot of money. I'm going to be the best sports gambler ever. I'm very good at sports gambling.
Oh, man.
This is what every loser says before they lose everything.
You're a new
I can't wait to lose
homeowner.
everything coming up on January 1st when you can start placing some legal sports bets. What?
You're going to be living at the radio station.
I'll be coming in with my can. I'm shaking for coins. Which is basically what I do when I come here every day. Hey-o. All right, 5'8", 1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. So, Kev, before the break, we asked the question that you had about Embiid and Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis is injury prone.
Yep.
Embiid is injury prone. Guys that are injury prone, how can we get away from saying that they're soft or they're not playing because they just don't want to play? Can we ever get back to a way or a place where, all right, dude's injured, he's just injured? Is that ever going to be a thing? Or are we always going to view guys that are sitting out games that they're just resting and they don't want to play? Because everything that went on with Kawhi Leonard, like the degenerative knee situation that he has, and then he tore his leg up last year in the playoffs and missed all the last season. Nobody said anything about that because, like, oh, well, it's a torn ligament. Nobody's going to say anything about that. But, like, when he comes back next season and takes time off, people are going to be like, why is he rested? Are we ever going to get to that place again?
No, because injuries are part of the game, and we're not doctors. We don't care about that. We don't care about that. There's been players with injuries since sports began. I don't like when, and I understand where athletes can become sensitive to this stuff. Man, we're more than just basketball players. We're more than just this. I know that you are, but in the eyes of the majority of fans, you're not. You are there specifically for our entertainment. That sounds like a horrible thing to say, and I completely get that. I'm not justifying that, Kev. I'm just saying that's how the vast majority of fans view sports. You as an athlete don't care about me. You could say, oh, man, thank the fans. Well, that only goes so far. I mean, what does that do, really? Like, you know what I mean, Kev? Like, I know it's easy to say, oh, I love the fans. I know you love the fans. You love when an arena of 20,000 fans are screaming for you. It's easy. I would hope you love the fans. But the fans, do they always feel loved by you? To be fair, there's nothing an athlete could do for us to make us feel loved by them outside of what, Kev?
Winning.
Be available, play, and win. Yes, you're right. So I just don't like when we do this thing of like, oh my gosh, they're more than just, they're not robots. They're more than just that. I get that, but we're not more than just what to them. We're not people to them. We're just fans to them. And we're only thanked whenever we're filling up an arena, cheering them on. And that's fine. Like, I'm not creating like a villain here. I'm just saying, like, sometimes I think we try to desensitize, like sometimes we try to humanize romanticize every element of life. That can't be done sometimes. I'm watching TV. You are just a person I see on TV. We don't text each other. We don't call each other. We don't send each other happy birthday messages. Like, you don't know me. I don't know you. But I look at you as the basketball player, the football player. Now, social media has allowed us to kind of romanticize these guys and gals a little bit more. But at the same time, I just get annoyed with that. So now, with that being said, podcasts, interviews, social media, we feel like we know these athletes more than we ever have.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I don't think it'll ever change, Kev, because these athletes put that information out there. So we don't feel bad. Like when someone says, oh, yeah, well, I have this bum knee, that's going to be a problem moving forward. What do we selfishly think? Great. Now he's never going to be available for our team. Then they try to make us sound like bad people. But like, how do you want us to approach that? I'm not one to romanticize an athlete that I don't know. It's not that I don't care about them as people, but I don't know who they are. They don't know who I am. If something bad happened to me, they wouldn't lose a second of sleep at it. So why should I? And I'm the bad person if I don't. Doesn't make any sense. So as far as Anthony Davis and Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, the big criticism of him is he comes into camp out of shape. He uses the regular season to try to get in shape, and then he gets hurt during the process of trying to get in shape. And it's to where Joel Embiid had a lot of similar criticisms. He acknowledged he didn't approach the working out aspect the way he should, and then he flipped that switch. He came in the last 2 seasons, the best shape he's ever been in, and it's no coincidence that he's missed less games the last 2 years combined than he did all his previous years in the NBA combined. This year was his best season, nearly won an MVP, probably should have won the MVP. Yes, he got banged up, but guess what? Philly fans aren't mad at him right now for being hurt because they appreciated his effort. He was out there pretty much every night. He was playing in back-to-backs. He was out there pretty much every single night. Got hurt in the playoffs. Yes, fans can't understand. Okay, he just can't go. But if we feel like you're giving it your all, like if Michael Jordan never had a season-ending injury, which he didn't, but if he ever did, I know early on in his career, but I mean, like, you know what I mean? During his prime, Bulls fans would have never felt shorted. They never would have felt like, oh, MJ, he's disrespecting us because he's not in shape, and that's why I got. No, you knew he worked. You know LeBron works. He spends millions of dollars in his body alone. That's why it's hard to get mad at those guys because they put in the work. That's the difference between Joel Embiid, who grew and learned from his mistakes. Anthony Davis has been in the league way longer and still comes in out of shape. That's the problem. That's why he gets criticized and viewed differently than Joel Embiid.
Funny thing about Joel is he came into shape. He balled out of control, top 2 MVP candidate. And he still missed games. He got his nose broken or eye fractured. Like, some dudes just can't win. Like, I truly do believe that. Like, I'm not sure where I am on a person X is injury prone. It's just like some dudes just have bad luck. Like, and Joel Embiid is one of those dudes that just has bad luck. Like, who gets their eye fractured with 4 minutes to go in a blowout? Joel Embiid. That's who. Like, some dudes just have bad luck, man.
But so here's how athletes are going to get around this. Now, this is me walking the line of something sensitive here, but whatever. Mental health. You know what you can't prove with a CAT scan? You know what you can't prove with an X-ray? You know you can't prove mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not, well, yeah, I basically am. But some players I feel like waive the mental health card at times, Kev, because it's one of those where we don't know enough about it, and it's a very sensitive issue, and you sound insensitive if a player, if Ben Simmons says, oh, it's mental health, now I'm the jerk of the media guy if I'm going to criticize that. And I'm not saying it's not mental health, but it does seem very convenient that every time a player misses a long stretch of time that is maybe due to a back or an ankle, it turns into mental health. And then it's like, oh, we got to back off. We can't criticize him, which good for them. If they find a shield that keeps us the hell away, then so be it. But Ben Simmons is starting to lose that benefit of the doubt a little bit. I'm not saying I don't sympathize with that, but if there's ever a thing that us regular common folk can sympathize with the pro athlete, it could potentially be mental health. You know, not all of us have those ACL, MCL injuries because not all of us play sports into our mid-20s and 30s, right? We can't relate to that. But there's all of us who are battling something in our lives that, oh, man, you know, he just lost a loved one. You look at Cat from the Timberwolves with losing half his family to COVID. I mean, we can all sympathize. We all have lost someone due to COVID or know someone who was severely impacted by it. We can relate to that. Oh, Anthony Davis, his ACL. I've never torn my ACL. I don't know how freaking painful that is. I don't know how to recover from something like that. I've never had surgery. I don't know. You know what I mean? So your thoughts on that, because mental health is something that is being thrown around a lot now that wasn't being thrown around before, but it's also a weird issue for media folks because it's like, okay, well, how severe is that? Because we have depression all the time. We go through things in our personal lives all the time, but we still have to show up every day. So it's hard to sympathize with that aspect of it. So you're just not going to come to work because you're going through some stuff. We're all going through some stuff. Isn't that what we all say about stuff? That's the other weird line that we have to learn how to handle and decipher. And I don't know if it's fair to just put it in the same category as an ankle injury, even though it's going to be treated like that moving forward.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the situation with a professional athlete and us everyday Joes who go to work every single day, like we work, Monday through Friday. There's other professions out there that work 7 days a week, like, police officers and first responders and things of that nature and everything like that. But an NBA player, their technical work schedule is from September until April, unless they make the playoffs. And in that case, like a Steph Curry or the Golden State Warriors or the Celtics, September until right now.
Yep.
And they're off quote unquote, for the summer and everything like that. So when you look at the situations with mental health, and I know a lot of companies out there, they have personal days and everything like you can do for that. I'm not sure if the pro ranks have that for them and everything like that. Should they? Probably. They probably do and everything like that. But where it comes into effect is when it happens during games and everything like that. Because, I mean, we went around the bush about the whole situation with Ben Simmons. Like, oh, he's coming back for game 3. He's coming back for game 4. He's not coming back at all. And then the mental health thing came up. I think it's a situation where I guess we as fans want to know up front, but shoot, are we privy to that information about, our coworker that works 2 cubicles down from us? Why John's not at work today? Oh, he's having a mental health issue. He's not going to be able to work today. Like HR is not telling us that. But as sports figures, we know everything about them left and right. We know how much they're getting paid. We know how much their contract is worth. We know basically where they're going to be on a Tuesday because they'll be playing Milwaukee. Like, it's a lot that goes with it. I'm not saying that, all right, man, no, y'all can't take no time off to deal with your personal life because everybody has stuff that they have to go through. But there has to be some type of way that we can maneuver through this thing together where you can have that personal time off and you still play the game because everybody else is going to work too. You can't tell me that the NFL guys aren't having personal issues or baseball guys aren't having personal issues, but they're on the field of play and the NBA guys aren't. You know what I'm saying? It's an alarming rate that certain stars in the NBA don't play, where in the NFL, dudes are out there constantly playing the game. So, and they doing it because it's their job. You know what I'm saying? So,
and it is. And I think where the other thing that people have a disconnect with is, hey, you start, your season, your camp starts in October, games start in November. Most of the league is out by April.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have April, May, June, July, August, and September. That's your off season, and it sounds almost insensitive, but hey, get your stuff figured out then. Like, you don't work year round, even though I do believe that NBA players do. Like, just because our seasons, us as fans, we have NBA seasons.
Right.
Players, you have to work out in July the way you would in October, November. Not every player treats it that way, and that's why a lot get criticized, like Anthony Davis, for instance. When he has an off season, he has an off season. But the Kobes and the MJs and the LeBrons and the greats of the world, they don't have off seasons. They're July.
I'm off when I'm off.
July is as big a month to them as November and December is to them, as big as April, May, and June, as far as NBA playoffs and finals are concerned. So that's interesting right there. The other aspect of it too is we've always talked about mental health in sports from the standpoint of, oh man, is the moment too big for him?
Mm-hmm.
So now we have to be careful with how we word things with that. Like, no, like they're just like, for instance, if Anthony Davis has to retire early because his body just can't keep up with the sport, then if we're going to sit there, people are like, oh, you need to talk about mental health the way you do injuries. Well, if that's the case, some players physically can't handle playing a pro sport. And if you mentally can't handle playing a pro sport, with all due respect, then maybe you can't play. And that's okay too. But what you can't do is continue to try to play every single season, miss a ton of time like we've talked about, and then not be like, for injury prone players, we give them labels. I mean, street clothes is the nickname for, you can't give no nicknames to people who are battling mental health because that's just super insensitive, right? But like, you can't have the theme of today's show. You can't have it both ways. My point is, you can't treat mental health absences the way you would physical injury absences, but then tell me that I can't say, well, if you mentally can't handle playing, then don't play. Because if we tell athletes all the time, if you physically can't handle playing the sport, if you can't handle the physicality of the NFL, if you can't handle the physical grueling stretch of Major League Baseball, playing 162 games in a 6-month span, then you can't play. You either physically have it or you don't. And sometimes you either mentally have it or you don't. For instance, officiating, to be an official, you know how mentally tough you have to be to deal with thousands of fans yelling at you every single decision you make. I couldn't handle it. I know I'm not mentally tough enough to go be an official, right? Am I mentally weak? No. It just means I know my limits. And I think some people need to understand that it's okay to know your limits now too. But yeah, there's just so much yellow tape around certain things. And that's why I'm just like, it can't have it both ways. That's all. I don't know. I don't even know how the hell we got into this.
We look at a player like Michael Beasley, who dealt with mental health issues, and his career got cut short by it. And I would hate to be like that person that is ragging on somebody because they're having a mental health issue or a mental health episode. Nobody rags on Michael Beasley because it was evident that he was having mental health issues and breakdowns and everything like that. You don't want to be that guy or gal on a sports radio show calling somebody soft and then obviously something terrible happens. But I don't necessarily believe it has to get to a case like a Michael Beasley where people show some type of sensitivity towards them. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody understands that Michael Beasley went through some things and they're like, all right, man, his career ended because of these situations that he went through. Nobody wrecks him for that. So we look at the next candidate for that, I guess, is Ben Simmons from everything that's been reported. Like, so what do we do in a case like that? I just don't know.
Yep, we don't. And the PR thing of, it's an ankle injury. Now it's a back injury. And then when we start piling on the criticism of, my goodness, he's always hurt. This was a disaster of a trade for the Nets. You traded for a guy that can't be out on the floor because his back. Well, hold on. It's not his back. It's mental health. So leave him the hell alone. And then we got to be quiet because you can't criticize someone with mental health. And it's like, you can't I thought it was a back injury. So then now we're the bad guys because we're being critical of someone who's not readily available, not readily available. At the end of the day, like I said earlier, it's not right, but it's true. We as fans, the vast majority of us, we only see you on TV. We want to be entertained by you, yes. Like, we don't know you. We don't have dinner with you. We don't go get drinks together. We don't send Christmas cards to one another. No happy birthday exchange. You're just a basketball player. I'm just a fan. It's a two-way street. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's hard. Trying to sensitize fans into this thing is very difficult.
What was dude's name from the Rockets who had a fear of flying? I think he went to Iowa State, if I'm not mistaken.
Houston Rockets player?
Yes. Royce White, I believe his name was. He had to end his career early because of fear of flying.
Iowa State.
Yeah, he had to end his career early because of fear of flying.
I'm with you on that. I'm terrified of flying. I fly, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm always like, when we start taking off, and I'm like, oh, we're off the ground. There's a certain point when you get off the ground, you're like, all right, at what point do we get off the ground? Can we still fall and I still walk away from this? All right. So, speaking of fear, how many of you Browns fans out there fear OBJ coming back to Cleveland? It seems that despite the temper tantrum, the dad fighting his battles for him, forcing his way out of Cleveland, that's not enough to force the Cleveland ownership to fear bringing him back to Cleveland. There's reports out there that the Browns are interested in an OBJ reunion. Well, I'll pass. Will you guys pass? We'll discuss. OBJ back in Cleveland? I think that's a disaster, but we'll talk about that when we come back.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The DEA says Dayton is one of the nation's hardest hit places when it comes to overdoses and drug-related violent crime. News Center 7 is talking with agents to give you an inside look at the new operation designed to save lives. Today on News Center 7, beginning at 5.
Carrie Underwood, Thomas Rhett, Maren Morris. On the next Entertainment Tonight, we're backstage for the iHeart Country Festival.
Every single act is at the top of their game.
Next ET, tonight at 7:30 on Channel 7.
At McAfee, they're more than just an air temperature company. They're an air quality company. Breathe easy. Choose McAfee.
Grammy-nominated Americana trio, the Wood Brothers, and genre-busting rock band Guster will take the stage together live at Rose Music Center on June 14th, featuring a free pre-show cookout and support by David Wax Museum. Tickets starting at only $23.50 are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com and the Rose Music Center box office. Don't miss this fusion of soulful folk, American roots, and alternative rock by the Wood Brothers and Guster at Rose Music Center on June 14th.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
At Wendy's, we make breakfast better, like with our Breakfast Baconator. Better from top to bottom bun. Savory sausage patty, better. Crispy oven-baked bacon, better. Fresh cracked egg, better. The Breakfast Baconator might just be the greatest breakfast sandwich of all time. So you can keep settling for not better, or you can get a better breakfast from Wendy's. Tough choice. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's Better Breakfast. At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
When you need your tech working its best, Staples has you covered.
My PC has 3 speeds: slow, slower, and slowest.
Staples has you covered during our free PC tune-up event, Saturday the 18th and Sunday the 19th. Bring your existing PC to any Staples store and we'll remove junk files, improve your startup and operating speeds, and optimize your device's performance with a 1-year subscription for PC tune-up software. A $30 value free. Your tech solution is at Staples. In-store only, Windows devices only. Appointments encouraged by phone or in store.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Are you ready to taste the chicken sandwich perfected? Then Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken has just what you're looking for with the chicken sandwich combo for only $6.99. Forget the rest and try the best. This is a premium all-white meat chicken breast that's honey dipped and hand-breaded just right. Served with creamy chipotle ranch all on a brioche bun, no other chicken sandwich can compare. Taste perfection with the chicken sandwich combo for only $6.99. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Hey, hot dogs, sausages.
Maybe instead of using a stadium vendor to feed the office, we should have just ordered through Easy Cater.
I got nachos here. Nachos?
Yeah, right here. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it was fun at first, but it is kind of disruptive.
Cheesesteak here. Who wants a cheesesteak?
Over here.
Coming at you.
Oh, right in the face.
Some food just doesn't work at work, but EasyCater just does. Food for work on time and has ordered from over 85,000 restaurants. Order 24/7 at easycater.com.
You want 8 of the flutes and onyx?
Shira's hand-blown glassware blows right off her store's shelves.
Back for more indigo bowls?
She needs an inventory manager to help keep her stock on lock.
These are 100% borosilicate. Those aren't. Hey, can someone check the temp on the kiln?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, I'm Sales Manager Jason High at Germain Honda Beaver Creek, proud recipient of the prestigious President's Award. We are your local Honda dealer, and we invite you to see our newly renovated state-of-the-art facility. You'll be amazed at our selection, and remember, all new Hondas come with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit us at Route 35, just east of 675, conveniently located near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way. I'll see you soon.
You've got bugs. What's your move? A rattly can? Or a simple spritz? Bugs near your kids and pet? Will it be ingredients you can't pronounce? Ew. Or essential oils? Bother the bugs, not your family. Zevo uses essential oils, which attack bugs' biological systems, so Zevo kills bugs, plus is safe for use around people and pets when used as directed. Zevo. People-friendly. Bug-deadly. Now at a store near you.
Thanks, everyone, for baking your way here on this toasty morning. Are you all ready to jam? Excellent. Before we get rolling, let's start by hashing out everything bagel we'll be discussing. Profit margins are okay, but they could maybe be butter. Sorry, I don't mean to waffle. Next quarter, it's all or muffin. Did you have a question, Sausage Patty?
My name's Patricia.
When you can't take your mind off breakfast, it matters where you stay. Delicious breakfast available at our Hilton family of brands. Hilton, for the stay.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
All right, we are back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. All right. I don't know if you guys know this or not. I'm a Browns fan. We've done pretty good, by the way, Kev. We did 4 straight hours last Friday and today. So that would be 5 if, my right state math is correct, not 4. 5 straight hours of no NFL talk.
Look at that.
Not bad. I've got a lot of NBA talk, a lot of good NBA content out there right now, and it's not just the breaking down of games, but I love the different topics at hand, and of course shortening the NBA season, NBA officiating, what's the right or wrong way. We get mad at NBA officials if they hold stars accountable and they give them technicals and they toss them from games, and then we say, oh, but you can't make the game about you, Mr. Official. You can't throw stars out of an NBA Finals game. This is the NBA Finals. We paid to watch the stars, not you. And then when the officials do that, then it's, you can't just let the star walk all over you. You can't just not call a foul on them. You got to toss them. Are they in charge or you? What are we doing here? Y'all a bunch of damn hypocrites is what you are. I mean, you drive me crazy. But anyways, that was the topic at hand, and I know we'll dive back into that more throughout the week. But something that caught my attention today, something that made me really irritated. Odell Beckham Jr.
OBJ.
To be honest, I'd be lying to you if I wasn't happy to see the breakout performance he had in the Super Bowl, and he had a fantastic game. And honestly, God knows what his final stat line would have been had he not gone down with that horrible injury. I'm not rooting for OBJ to fail. I think 2 things could be true. I don't want his ass in Cleveland, and I still want him to succeed because a lot of different moving parts here. But I guess OBJ back to Cleveland is a possibility. Armando Salguero tweeted out that his sources have told him that the Browns have been in talks with Odell Beckham Jr. to have him return to Cleveland, and that there's been a lot of players on the Cleveland roster that want him back as well, which is also mind-boggling to me. The one thing I would love to highlight about the Cincinnati Bengals is that that's an organization right now, that's a roster right now that I feel like everyone has everyone's back. Everyone loves Joe Burrow. Everyone loves Jesse Bates. Everyone loves everyone on that roster. Everyone, ELE. everybody love everybody. That's the Cincinnati Bengals right now. And it's justified. They should love Joe freaking Burrow. They should love Jesse Bates. They should love everyone there. They accomplished something great. They were about bringing one another up. It was about taking care of one another. I love that energy with the Cincinnati Bengals right now. I do think that's pretty cool. There's almost like a youthful college element to the Bengals that you don't get in pro sports a lot of times, right? In pro sports, it's a lot about me, look at me. And in Cleveland, I feel like that's the case. I love the Browns, but I do feel like there's a little bit of me elements there. I don't get the same warm, fuzzy feelings about the Cleveland camaraderie that I do in Cincinnati. Now, I say that because in Cleveland, there are actual players who are advocating for Odell Beckham Jr. to come back. In fact, there were Browns players on that roster that were pro-OBJ and anti-Baker Mayfield. Now, I'm not saying that, they're wrong because they went with the side that I wouldn't have. You should never support anybody that is looking to bring your team down. You are enabling selfish activity within that Browns locker room. You are telling Odell Beckham Jr. it's okay to throw a temper tantrum and not try hard because you don't like the quarterback. You are telling Odell Beckham Jr., you are telling your entire roster that it is okay to tell opposing teams' players, don't come here. Your job is to get as many good players as possible to come here. You should be a spokesperson for the team that you're playing for. And now I get it. You don't have to love where you're playing and all that. And you're right. He did that, but that right there shows he didn't want to be here, which is fine. He has that right, but I don't have to want him here either. And you shouldn't want him here. Why? If you have a coworker that is doing everything they can to sabotage your place of employment that would make your job harder, why in the blue hell would you support that? Why? Why? If I knew that Kev was telling sponsors of our station that, don't sponsor our station. Our station sucks. Our boss is horrible. Like, don't sponsor our station. Kinner is the worst. He can't throw a football. Don't sponsor the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. If Kev Nash was doing that, okay, and let's just say he wasn't even saying don't sponsor the Justin Kinner Show. He was just bashing our radio station as a whole. Not bashing me, not bashing the show, bashing the station as a whole. Okay, so technically there's no personal shots at me. I would still be pissed at Kev because I'm like, Kev, you're impacting me one way or another. You're impacting the perception of our station. You're impacting dollars coming into the station. You're impacting my relationship with clients. Kev, that's a selfish move on your part just because you're mad because X, Y, and Z doesn't give you the right to bash our station and make my job harder. If I was an idiot, I'd be like, yeah, Kev, tell them how stupid our station is. Oh, wait, we're losing on that sponsorship money. Why are they pulling the sponsor? Oh, because Kev said we're a bunch of idiots. Oh, well, good for Kev though. He's standing up for himself. No, I'd be like, Kev, screw you, man. There comes a certain point where you got to do what's best for you, but you can't do it at the expense of me and those around you. No, that's not okay. OBJ didn't like his role in the offense. So Baker Mayfield wasn't an elite quarterback, wasn't getting him the ball. Super. I understand your frustration, but it still doesn't give you the right to go out and do what he did. And maybe it does, but what also I find the Cleveland Browns players to be complete morons is, yeah, man, good for OBJ. Oh, we'll love him back. You want you want the guy back in your locker room that when something doesn't go his way, he's going to have his dad find a bunch of clips to make your organization look bad? He's going to throw a temper tantrum and force his way out and be a distraction. You want that? No. If I'm any other team that wants him to go there, I would be like, fine, okay, I get that. Fresh surroundings. He was great in Los Angeles. Super. He was, not from a production standpoint. I know his touchdown numbers went up, but his yards per catch were lower, his targets were lower, and his total yards were lower. So I don't understand this idea that, oh man, he killed it with Matthew Stafford. He had a breakout game in the Super Bowl, and he did. Some of his best games came in the playoffs. That's great. All right, but it wasn't working in Cleveland. I wouldn't want him back in Cleveland. So you want him back because things appear to be going well right now. Maybe a 24th lawsuit was applied today to Deshaun Watson. So if you're saying that you want him back in Cleveland because, Baker Mayfield's not there and he's going to be playing with Deshaun Watson. Oh, really? You think playing with Jacoby Brissett, who's also worse than Baker Mayfield, you think that OBJ is going to love playing with the quarterback that's worse than Baker Mayfield? Really? This is a joke. The idea that the Browns want to bring him back is a joke. The fact that some of you Browns fans want him back is a joke. The fact that some of the players on the Browns want him back is also a joke. It's complete stupidity. He does not make quarterbacks better. He only is a light in the locker room when things are going well, when he's getting his way, and when he's not getting his way, he wants out. OBJ is the epitome of why today's current athletes are vilified because when they're not getting their way, they throw a temper tantrum and they hold their breath and they act like a child in the candy section at the supermarket, right? But then when things are going great, they're smiling. Oh man, everything's super. He's making the locker room better. He's not making the locker room better. The locker room's making him better because it's giving him what he wants. The second a play call doesn't go his way, he wants out. That's not okay. Cleveland, you're a bunch of morons. I love the Browns, but this is why you people that think I'm just a homer. I am not. I will be so pissed if the Browns bring him back because you are telling players it's okay to crap on your organization. You're not respecting your brand and who you are as an organization if you bring him back. Set an example. And then the players on the roster who want him back, you're also idiots. He made your team look bad. He made you look bad. Oh, because he bought you sneakers and a Rolex, it's okay? I mean, my goodness, how dumb do some of you players look right now? I do not want Odell Beckham Jr. back in Cleveland. He did not make anything better in Cleveland. He made it worse. He did not live up to the billing of being the Browns' #1 wide receiver. You know, most people would never say Amari Cooper is better than Odell Beckham Jr., but Amari Cooper will be a million times better #1 option in Cleveland than OBJ ever was or ever will be. Do not bring him back. I don't want him back. The Browns players look stupid. They're like, I can't wait for him to come back. Why? Because you want another freaking Rolex? Are you kidding me? This is a joke. Kev, take over.
So you don't want him back?
I'll think about it.
I wouldn't want him back because he's coming off what? That's 2 torn ACLs in 3 years. I need to see something first. I mean, I saw you ball with the Rams. I seen you definitely ball out in the Super Bowl, everything like that. But are you still that explosive receiver? Because it took him like 9 months to get back to that level, right? So before I'm willing to give a contract, I'm gonna need to see something.
God's agreeing with me, by the way. You hear the thunder in the background. I agree, Kenner, because that's how God talks. I don't know if you know that, but
as far as the players on the team are concerned, I don't necessarily believe like that stuff still resonates. I don't really think like there's like, well, he's a Steeler, so I hate him, or he's a Raven, so I hate him. Like, I think like that stuff just doesn't equate anymore. Like, they view them like, man, he's an NFL player. He's part of the brother hill. Yeah, but I don't think that apparently, according to a lot of guys still on the team, like they thought that the beef between him and Baker that's between y'all. Because everything that Myles Garrett has said, they still boys. Not only he's still boys with OBJ, he's still cool with Baker as well.
But you know who didn't crap on the organization? Baker Mayfield. You know who didn't throw guys under the bus? Baker Mayfield. You know, like I mean, we got mad at Odell, or we got mad at Baker because his wife had the audacity to open her mouth. But when OBJ's dad goes and finds every clip possible to make the organization look bad, that's okay. That's, you know, OBJ standing up for his son, or OBJ's dad standing up for his son. Gotta love it. I'll tell Baker's wife to put a sock in it. I mean, my goodness, like, yeah, it's so, and get it. And Baker, I'm not defending Baker so much here, but my goodness, you would think that Baker's the one that came up with these videos to make the other one look bad. That Baker was the one that was holding his breath and throwing a temper tantrum like Kyler Murray in Arizona right now. Like, no, that was OBJ. And like the players that are sitting there saying, oh, well, that's just between them. It could be between them until it becomes at the expense of you. When that impacted your team, you know, Baker's the one that took them to the playoffs. In fact, Cleveland got better when OBJ wasn't on the field. So Baker took them to the playoffs. Baker won him a playoff game. But, oh, yeah, Baker was just so horrible that, you know, it couldn't work out. It sucks that it didn't work out with OBJ. But anyways, no, to sum up, I do not want him back in Cleveland. You know, I do not. And it just amazes me that and everyone's like, well, his teammates want him back. Well, then they're dumb too, because that means you're putting up with with players that come in under distraction and make your team look bad. I don't know. It is what it is. But the good thing is and for those out there, well, he didn't trust his quarterback. I got that a lot today too. Well, he didn't trust his quarterback. Well, I think we all know the situation here. We know Deshaun Watson is either going to miss a good chunk, if not all of this year or the following season. So that means Jacoby Brissett is up next. You think Jacoby Brissett going to put the ball right in the palms of OBJ? You think that Brissett's going to be the guy that elevates OBJ? Because here's the deal. OBJ's proven he's not going to make the quarterback better. He's dependent on the quarterback making him better. Some receivers can play at a high level no matter who the quarterback is. That's not going to be the case here. So, no, do not want him back in Cleveland. I like Donovan Peoples-Jones. I love Amari Cooper. You know, I didn't love him at $20 million, but now it looks like a deal. So whatever. You know, and they still have $40 million in freaking cap space, and that's even with Baker's crazy $18 million guaranteed on the books. It is what it is. But at the end of the, you know, to the Facebook page we go. Reaction. So some guy on Facebook says, I'd take OBJ back. Baker couldn't get him the ball. That locker room loved Odell and still does. He was on his way to being Super Bowl MVP playing with a good quarterback. I agree. He was well on his way to potentially. Wouldn't that have been ironic, though, had he been the Super Bowl MVP? I just say it. That doesn't take away the fact that he was below average with the Rams all games before that. When we look at all the touchdowns, well, he's standing wide open because he's not the number one wide receiver on the Rams. That's the real wide receiver was Kupp. He just standing there, and good for him for finally catching him. He wasn't catching him in Cleveland when he was wide open, by the way, but his job was to be the number one wide receiver in Cleveland, and he did not live up to that. But now you're going to hold him to number one standards when he's the second or third best receiver on the field standing wide open because the real receivers are doing their job. I'm not going to give him credit for that. I would have given him credit for the Super Bowl MVP because I loved watching him torch the Bengals, by the way. I was really happy about that.
You don't say.
I was really happy about that. People said, oh, I bet you're going to be so unhappy. OBJ or the Bengals. I'm like, no, I'm pulling for OBJ over the Bengals. I mean, come on, let's just give me a break. I mean, Lamar Shelley, Kev, they better take him back if they can. The Bengals have the best. Oh, here we go. The Bengals, because the Browns, every move they make is about the Bengals. Here's a nugget for you. Eventually, when enough outlets out there start piling on the Bengals, it's not because it's hate towards the Bengals. It's because I think a lot more people outside of Homerism country over here realize that they were a Cinderella team. Like, no one thinks that St. Petersburg, what was the college last year that beat Kentucky and some of the others? What school was that?
Yeah, it was St. Pete.
St. Pete? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, well, St. Pete.
Evansville.
No one thinks that they're back. No one thinks that they're going to be a top 25 team next year. Oh, they were in the Elite Eight. They should be a top 25 team next year. We're in the Super Bowl. We should be. Relax. You have your chance to prove it. Whatever. But he says the Bengals have the best receiver corps in the AFC North. The Browns have a rival that to solidify themselves, it's going to be a war in the AFC period. I get that, but you know why you don't need the number one wide receivers corps to be a player in the AFC North? Because the Baltimore Ravens had the worst receiving corps in the AFC North last year. And if it wasn't for Lamar going out with 5 weeks to go, they win the damn division. And that's not a hot take. The Ravens were not very good last year, but yet they were in first place with 5 weeks to go. The Ravens, by the way, lost the last 5 games of the season, which just so happens to coincide with the absence of Lamar Jackson, who does not have very good wide receivers, okay? So with that being said, enjoy your great wide receivers. I agree. But the Browns wide receivers right now aren't horrible. They're not as good as the Bengals, that's right. But the Browns have a lot of other things that are better than the Bengals. So I don't know what that has to do with anything, Mr. Lamar. Going down the list. Will says, good job, Kenner. I thought this 2 years ago. However, I'm a Steeler fan. 2 words, Antonio Brown. Yeah, Kev, Antonio Brown. Should he come back to Pittsburgh? Come on now. Why? Use everything you just said about OBJ. Now say it about Antonio Brown.
Is anybody still on the Steelers that was on the team with him? I don't think it is.
The guys on the defensive side of the ball, that hasn't changed too much.
Oh, Cam Hayward's still there. So TJ Watt.
I mean, a lot of reshuffling.
Yeah, I think the whole offense is totally different. But no, we straight.
Hypocrisy, folks. I'm telling you, I call it.
We straight.
Damon Hahn says it's called leverage. We only have leverage if we are willing to move on without the other half. If you can move on and not look back, and you have the leverage. Browns organization do not give up your leverage. Look, I don't think anyone's saying that the Browns have a lot of expectations heading into this season as long as Deshaun's the starting quarterback, which all of that could be in question now, and I get that. But I don't think they're an OBJ away from anything. They're an OBJ away from a headache. They're closer to being an OBJ away from a headache more than they are from, oh, he's going to put him over the top. I don't think so. But it is what it is. Damon Hahn, are Lamar Jackson's wide receivers bad, or is he not an elite quarterback? Look, I'm not the biggest Lamar Jackson supporter out there, but you know what you can't argue with? Winning. That's all Lamar does. He wins every single year. It doesn't look, the blueprint is not the one I would follow because it's not the blueprint that everyone else follows, and we don't like something that's different, right? Well, the second that the Ravens win a Super Bowl doing it this way, it's the same way that the Warriors are now viewed as the blueprint in the NBA. You're not going to win an NBA title, Kev, shooting all them threes. Now guess who? Everyone shoots threes. Everyone, that's all everyone does, is shoot a bunch of threes. So it is what it is. I'm not the biggest Baltimore Ravens guy out there. I'm just saying you can't argue. Last year we thought they had a down year, Kev, but they were leading the division until Lamar Jackson went out, even without the running backs, even with all the beat up secondary guys that the Bengals beat up on and then bragged about later. I'm just saying, Lamar Jackson went out, they lost their last 5 games. When Lamar Jackson was there, first place. Just saying. I'm glad my coffee has kicked in.
You're on level 10 now.
So, Lamar Jackson's receivers are not the worst. They're not bad, but they're not Jamar Chase. They're not Tyler Boyd. They're not T. Higgins. And that's great that the Bengals have them, and that's their identity. But that's the great thing about the NFL. There's not only one way to do it. And that's what I love about the NFL. So the Bengals, that's their identity. But a part of their identity is also the fact that they're the Bengals. So there's a lot of flaws there too. But it is what it is. All right, folks, we're stepping away for a few minutes. 518-1410, more of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next.
Do breakfast better. Wake up to oven-baked bacon and savory sausage in a breakfast Baconator. Start looking forward to tomorrow morning at participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours only.
Perfect air with a personal touch. Get up to $1,000 in rebates on a new Linux system or make no payments for 6 months when you finance a new Linux system for as little as $132 a month. Call William Brockman and Sons Heating and Air Conditioning at 937-222-8638 today to learn more, or visit online at DaytonHeatingandCooling.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. License number Ohio license number 14911.
Hey, it's Keith Byers. We're in the most active season of the year right now, but if you have joint pain, you can't live like you want to. Hip, knee, back, and shoulder pain, it sucks the fun out of living. But I've got fantastic news. QC Kinetics is helping Dayton area people get the fun back with advanced regenerative treatments from local medical professionals. Regenerative medicine is the hottest thing going. It's basically taking growth factors with healing properties from your own body, highly concentrated, then putting them into your aching joints. QC Kinetics is a nation leader in these cutting-edge, all-natural options, and the patient satisfaction reports are incredible. They have over 100 clinics nationwide, including right here. Yes, you can get real relief from pain with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Stop putting it off. Call QC Kinetics now to learn more about regenerative medicine and get a totally free in-office consultation. Call 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
The Meyer Distribution Center in Tip City is hiring leadership and warehouse positions in all units. Includes flexible schedules, best-in-class benefits, starting wages up to $18.60, and $2,000 sign-on bonus. Candidates can apply online at jobs.meyer.com. Keyword search distribution. Location Tip City. Walk-in interviews available with on-the-spot job offers every Thursday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Call 937-669-9155. 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. Meyer is an equal opportunity employer.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I'm asking about Prevnar 20 because there's a chance pneumococcal pneumonia could put me in the hospital. Age 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I want to be able to keep my plans.
So I'm asking my doctor about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers with a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights, new equipment. Call Cody. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Let's face it, you all have outdoor home projects to do. Mad River Mulch and Topsoil is here to help as the area's leading provider of processed topsoil, garden mix, animal bedding, and mulch. We cater to the professional landscaper, contractor, and the DIY homeowner. That's you. Buy in bulk, mulch, rock, topsoil, and sand. No matter the size of the project, we can help, and we deliver, often the same day. We also carry firewood, bedding, and fuel pellets. Mad River Mulch and Topsoil, just off I-70 and Route 4 in Springfield. Order online at madrivermulch.com.
Straight Talk Wireless now has the new iPhone 13 with cinematic mode, which lets you focus on what matters. And with Straight Talk, you can focus on getting the best deal. Our Silver Unlimited plan is just $45 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. And it runs on the largest, most dependable networks, now with nationwide 5G. With the iPhone 13 on Straight Talk, you can share whatever you want, wherever you want. Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Visit Cincinnati and see for yourself why the Queen City is the birthplace of professional baseball. Catch a Reds game at Great American Ballpark and be sure to explore the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum presented by Dinsmore. Thanks to the HCS Foundation, kids 12 and younger receive free admission into the Hall of Fame, where the whole family can enjoy interactive exhibits and thousands of artifacts from over 150 years of Reds baseball. For details and tickets, visit Reds.com.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
God, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending Ooma and their all-in-one phone, video, and collaboration solution.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Ooma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Ooma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
Country Legends, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When country star Keith Urban first moved to Nashville 3 decades ago, he was known for throwing the best parties.
And somebody foolishly gave us a Polaroid camera, and the fridge would get covered in snapshots of these encounters. All I can say is I'm glad you can burn Polaroids.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today. Dear Dad, this year we're making Father's Day extra special with the Untucked shirts that you love. Untucked has the styles that'll make your summer great, from wrinkle-free shirts to performance polos and more. They're designed to be worn untucked, so you can always feel sharp even at your most casual. Father's Day is June 19th. If you still need a gift, check out the new summer styles at untucked.com or one of 80-plus Untucked stores. Use code DAD for 20% off your first purchase. Untucked shirts, designed to be worn untucked.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hello, this is Joe Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is a firm that practices family law exclusively. We focus on only one area of the law to maximize our strength and effectiveness as advocates for clients that have everything on the line: their homes, retirement, savings, and most importantly, their children. We're the partner our clients count on. If we can be of help to you, give us a call.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Dayton area attorneys. 2689 Commons Boulevard, Suite 100, Beaver Creek, Ohio, 45431.
Meet Boost, the fizzing amazing vitamin boost that turn your H2O into H2O, so you feel like
I like to boost it, my vitamins can boost it. I like to boost it, we like to boost it.
Because it's not just vitamins, it's Boost, the fizzing amazing vitamin boost.
Find Boost, the vitamin boosts, at Walmart or walmart.com and give yourself a boost with Boost.
At McAfee, they're more than just an air temperature company. They're an air quality company. Breathe easy. Choose McAfee.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
We are back. Hour 2.